6 surprising signs a woman is ready for intimacy. Old Stoic wisdom. Love is composed of a single soul inhabiting 2 bodies. Aristotle. Have you ever wondered how a woman quietly lets you know she's ready to deepen your connection? What you expect might not capture the subtle, often unexpected ways she signals her readiness. In this video, we uncover 6 surprising signs rooted in timeless wisdom that reveal when she's truly open to intimacy. Once you recognize these, your understanding will transform, and you'll never see her the same way again. Subscribe now, and let's explore these hidden truths together. Sign 1. I speak volumes. In the subtle dance of human connection, a woman's eyes often speak the loudest when she is ready for intimacy. Her gaze becomes a powerful form of non-verbal communication, one that can reveal her deepest desires before she utters a single word. When she holds your eye contact longer than usual, this lingering look carries more than curiosity. It signifies a longing to connect on a profound emotional and physical level. The way she softly bites her lip or twirls a strand of hair while locking eyes with you intensifies the silent message she's sending, an invitation to recognize and reciprocate her readiness. This combination of eye contact and small gestures creates an aura of seduction that is almost palpable. It's a form of communication as old as humanity itself, echoing the timeless wisdom that the eyes are the window to the soul, a phrase that reminds us how much we reveal through this silent language. One of the most telling signs is the dilation of her pupils, an involuntary response triggered by attraction and heightened emotional arousal. This natural physiological reaction sends a subtle but unmistakable signal that she's emotionally engaged and interested. Moreover, when her eyes wander appreciatively over your form with warmth and a quiet longing, she is silently expressing a desire to move closer, to share a connection that goes beyond superficial conversation. Such moments of unspoken understanding deepen your bond and open the door to intimacy that transcends the physical. But this language of the eyes requires a discerning mind. It's crucial to distinguish between a fleeting glance and a deliberate, lingering gaze. The former might simply be polite or curious, while the latter is a clear sign of emotional and physical interest. This delicate interplay of looks often takes on a playful quality when a woman looks at you, quickly looks away, then looks back again. She's testing the waters, assessing your response to her unspoken cues, and inviting you into a subtle game of flirtation. This dynamic exchange creates a magnetic tension, where every raised eyebrow, widened eye, and softly parted mouth contributes to a rich tapestry of attraction. The sparkle in her eyes is often the most revealing, a subconscious glow reflecting excitement and a heightened emotional state that words alone cannot convey. Interestingly, when a woman avoids direct eye contact, it may not always mean disinterest. Sometimes it signals shyness or uncertainty, especially when she's attracted to you but unsure how to express it. In these cases, observing the behavior of her pupils during conversation or whether she mirrors your blinking and gaze can provide powerful insights. Mirroring, where she unconsciously imitates your eye movements and body language, serves as an unspoken bond, a sign of emotional alignment and attraction. If she leans in while maintaining eye contact, it physically reduces the space between you, reinforcing her desire for intimacy. On the other hand, shifting away or frequent breaks in eye contact can indicate discomfort or reluctance, and recognizing these signs helps you respond with sensitivity rather than misinterpretation. The combined signs, eye contact, lip biting, a slight, knowing smile, form a potent signal of readiness for intimacy. It is a delicate balance of subtlety and clarity, making it a fascinating challenge to interpret. However, it's important to remember that some women naturally maintain strong eye contact as a part of their communication style, independent of attraction. This is why context matters. Consider her overall body language, tone of voice, and the situation before jumping to conclusions. As the old Stoics teach us, the eyes reveal more than the tongue. underscoring the importance of attentive observation in truly understanding another person's feelings. In practical terms, this means men should cultivate patience and emotional intelligence to read these subtle cues effectively. Don't rush or force the moment. Let the silent signals guide you gently toward deeper connection. When you pay attention to how she meets your gaze, the way her eyes reflect softness, curiosity, or desire, you are stepping into a shared emotional space where intimacy can flourish naturally. This mindful awareness not only strengthens the relationship, but honors the profound mystery of human connection. So next time you find yourself caught in her gaze, recognize it as an invitation to engage more deeply. I encourage you to share your thoughts or personal experiences in the comments below. Have you ever noticed these silent signs before, and how did you interpret them? Let's delve into this timeless, unspoken language together and uncover the wisdom it holds for building meaningful intimacy. Sign 2. Touches convey desire. When a woman is ready for intimacy, her touch speaks volumes, often in ways that are subtle yet deeply meaningful. This isn't about grand, overt gestures, but rather those small, deliberate touches that linger just a little longer than casual contact. Imagine her casually brushing her hand against your arm or shoulder, not by accident, but with intention, as if testing the water to see how you respond. These touches are her quiet invitation, a gentle probing to build physical closeness without rushing or overwhelming the moment. In everyday life, such gestures might be overlooked, but recognizing them is key because they reveal a woman's desire to connect on a deeper level. She may lean in closer than usual, her body language open and inviting, making herself more physically present. She might playfully touch your hand while laughing at your jokes, or rest her hand softly on your thigh during a conversation, actions that feel natural yet carry the weight of attraction. Even small acts like adjusting your clothing or brushing away imagined lint become moments to create intimacy, excuses to bridge the physical distance between you two. These touches, while delicate, often carry a sensual undertone, lingering longer than necessary, soft and tender, communicating attraction without a word. The way her fingers graze your skin, or the gentle pressure she applies, can convey warmth, tenderness, or a quiet passion that invites you to meet her halfway. Understanding these tactile signals not only helps you see her intentions clearly, but also lets you respond thoughtfully, fostering mutual attraction and trust. This dance of touch and response builds anticipation naturally, making the prospect of intimacy feel like a shared discovery rather than a rush. In modern life, where communication is often rushed or filtered through screens, these physical cues become all the more important, reminding us that genuine connection still thrives in simple human contact. Furthermore, a woman ready for intimacy might use touch to assert her presence, ensuring you are aware of her nearness without words. Picture her gently placing a hand on your back as she passes by, or letting her fingers linger softly on your arm during a conversation. These small, intentional touches create a sense of closeness and belonging, a quiet claim on shared space. Another powerful indicator is when she mirrors your movements, subtly matching your gestures by lightly touching you in response. This mirroring is a classic sign of rapport and interest, showing her desire to synchronize not just physically, but emotionally. The mutual exchange of touch becomes a silent conversation, signaling her openness to deeper connection. Sometimes, her touch grows more deliberate and intimate, such as tracing her fingers along your hand or intertwining them with yours. These moments are often paired with lingering eye contact, intensifying the connection and making it clear that her intentions go beyond friendship or casual acquaintance. You may also notice her touching her own neck, collarbone, or lips while talking to you, subtle yet potent signals as she draws attention to areas that evoke sensuality. These gestures, often subconscious, hint at her attraction and invite your attention. Likewise, if she plays with her hair or adjusts her clothing while maintaining eye contact, She's likely trying to present herself as more alluring, consciously or not, aiming to catch your gaze and spark desire. In more private or intimate settings, her touch may become bolder and more confident. She might sit closer to you, allowing her body to brush against yours, or rest her leg casually against yours. This physical proximity creates a shared space, a bubble where emotional and physical connection can deepen naturally. If she leans in to whisper in your ear, her breath softly touching your skin, it's a powerful signal of her willingness to close the distance, both physically and emotionally. These moments build a tension filled with possibility, inviting you to respond in kind and explore what's blossoming between you. Beyond just where or how she touches, pay attention to the quality and duration of her touch. A brief, fleeting touch might be friendly or accidental, but a touch that lingers, warm, gentle, or assertive, carries weight. The texture of her touch, whether soft and caressing or firm and confident, can express a range of feelings from tender affection to passionate desire. She may initiate touch more frequently, using every chance to make contact, whether by playfully brushing against your hand or subtly fixing your collar. These small, repeated gestures are her way of weaving intimacy into everyday moments, signaling her growing interest and comfort. To truly understand these signs, it's essential to stay attuned to the full picture, how her touches align with her words, her eye contact, and overall body language. This holistic awareness lets you see beyond surface friendliness to the deeper signals of attraction and readiness for intimacy. By responding with sensitivity and openness, you nurture a connection that transcends the physical and touches on genuine emotional closeness. In a world where so much is hurried or distracted, tuning into these tactile cues offers a timeless wisdom, one that honors patience, respect, and the natural unfolding of intimacy. Recognizing and responding to the language of touch not only deepens your relationship, but also enriches your understanding of the subtle ways desire and connection reveal themselves, offering a path to intimacy that feels both profound and authentic. Recognize the subtle power of touch. When she lingers just a little longer, it's more than casual contact. It's a quiet invitation. If you feel ready to meet her halfway and build a real connection through these signs, then take control of the moment. And if you're ready to embrace this ancient wisdom, drop a comment right now. I see the language of touch, and I respond with intention. Sign 3. Words reveal intentions. When a woman is ready for intimacy, her words often carry hidden meanings, revealing her desires and intentions without directly stating them. While everyone communicates differently, there are subtle cues that indicate a deeper level of attraction. These cues are not always overtly sexual, but rather part of a gradual process where language becomes a tool for intimacy and connection. By paying close attention to her words and the way she communicates, you can often decode her hidden desires, making it easier to navigate the emotional and physical dynamics between you. One of the most telling signs that a woman is interested in becoming more intimate is when she begins complimenting you more frequently. These compliments often focus not just on superficial aspects, but also on your physical appearance, personality, or the way you make her feel. When a woman is complimenting you more than usual, she's not just being polite. She's signaling that she finds you attractive and wants to draw your attention to her feelings. For instance, she may comment on how good you look in a particular outfit, or how your smile makes her day brighter. These compliments are her subtle way of expressing attraction without overtly stating it, offering a glimpse into her emotional state. However, it's not just the compliments that signal interest, it's also the context in which they are given. If a woman has become more flirtatious with her language, especially if it includes playful teasing or double entendres, it could be her way of testing the waters. These playful remarks serve two purposes: to see how you react and to gauge whether you share the same level of attraction. When she uses humour or slight teasing as part of the conversation, she's often creating an opening for further emotional intimacy. This can be a sign that she's beginning to feel comfortable with you and is suddenly inviting you to engage on a more personal level. As her intentions grow more apparent, You may also notice that her conversation shifts to more intimate topics. She might bring up past relationships or ask about your experiences in love or intimacy. While this may seem like innocent conversation, it's often a way of subtly exploring your boundaries and seeing how much she can share. These conversations can also include hints about shared fantasies or desires, providing an indirect way for her to test how open you are to discussing such topics. By asking you questions that prompt vulnerability, she may be encouraging you to open up and share in return, fostering a deeper sense of emotional intimacy. Another sign to look for is when she starts using affectionate or playful nicknames. These endearing terms, often unique to your relationship, create a sense of closeness and familiarity that is typically reserved for those with a stronger emotional connection. A nickname, whether it's a cute term of endearment or a playful inside joke, can signal that she's developing a level of comfort and trust with you. This is not only an emotional indicator, but also a way of building rapport and connection through language. By using these intimate terms, she might be subtly signaling that she's ready to explore a deeper bond, one that goes beyond casual interaction and touches on something more personal and emotional. In addition to affectionate language, her tone of voice may change when she's ready to become more intimate. You may notice that her voice softens, becoming more sensual or tender. This shift in tone is a subtle but powerful signal that she's inviting you into a more personal space. If she begins to speak more slowly, pausing to emphasize certain words, or if her voice takes on a more seductive quality, she is communicating that she's open to exploring a deeper connection. This vocal change isn't just about the words themselves, it's also about how those words make you feel. A softer, warmer voice creates an atmosphere of closeness and comfort, subtly inviting you to move closer, both emotionally and physically. Her reactions to your words also reveal a great deal about her intentions. When a woman is interested in you, she will often mirror your language and tone. This is a subconscious behavior that suggests a desire to align with you and establish a stronger emotional connection. If she laughs at your jokes more often, or engages in banter that mirrors your style of humor, it indicates that she is not only interested in what you say, but is also trying to create an environment where she feels comfortable and connected with you. Additionally, if she leans in during conversations or maintains strong eye contact, these actions further emphasize her desire to deepen the interaction. These physical cues, combined with her words, reveal her readiness for a closer relationship. Sometimes, when a woman is emotionally invested in you, she will speak with an added layer of vulnerability. This might come in the form of revealing personal thoughts, fears, or hopes, which she may not typically share with others. These moments of vulnerability can create a sense of emotional intimacy that is essential before moving to physical intimacy. If a woman is opening up to you in this way, she's not only showing trust, but is also signaling that she's comfortable with you, which is a strong indicator of her readiness to take the relationship to the next level. One of the most significant aspects of decoding a woman's words is understanding the emotional subtext behind them. While she may not explicitly state her desires, her language choices, tone, and level of engagement can all be interpreted as signs of her growing interest. Being attentive to these verbal cues allows you to gauge her emotional state and respond appropriately, fostering a deeper connection. Sign 4. She prioritizes spending time with you. When a woman is ready for intimacy, it's not whispered in the shadows or hidden behind coy glances. She announces it with clarity, power, and unmistakable action. One of the most profound signs, often overlooked by many men, is that she prioritizes spending time with you. This goes far beyond a casual invitation or a friendly meetup. It is a deliberate act, a statement carved in time and effort that says, "You matter. You're worth my moments, my attention, my energy." In a world where distractions are endless and time is the most valuable currency, her choice to be with you speaks louder than any words ever could. It's a language of presence, the ancient Stoics would say, a demonstration of valuing what truly matters right now, in this fleeting moment. Seneca reminds us, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. When she rearranges her schedule, pushes aside obligations, or finds excuses just to be near you, she's living this wisdom. She's choosing you over convenience, over distraction, over all the noise screaming for her attention. Picture this. She suggests cooking dinner together, not because she simply enjoys the act, but because in this shared ritual, intimacy is forged. Every chopped vegetable, every stirred pot becomes an opportunity to connect, to communicate beyond words. Her willingness to share these small moments is a sign of readiness to build something deeper, something real. Or consider the quiet walks she initiates. No grand gestures, no fancy plans, just the simple act of walking side by side, letting the silence between you build a bridge of understanding and closeness. These are not trivial acts. They are the foundation stones of intimacy. If you fail to see this, you are missing the forest for the trees. Men, listen carefully. When a woman invests her time in you, she's not wasting it. She's making a powerful declaration. The modern world bombards us with the illusion that everyone is busy, that time is scarce, that there's never enough hours in the day. But here is the undeniable truth. She's choosing to spend her scarce time with you. That choice is your most direct, tangible sign that she's ready to deepen your bond. To ignore it is to deny her desire, her courage, and her vulnerability. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, the only way to have a friend is to be one. If she's being that friend and more, being present, showing up consistently, you owe it to her to meet her with the same intensity. Let this be a call to action. Engage fully. Don't let your mind wander. Don't let distractions steal these moments from you. In modern life, it's easy to be physically present but mentally absent, checking phones, thinking about work, or lost in stress. That is a betrayal of the sign she's giving you. Show her that the time she gives is sacred. Respond with equal priority. Create your own moments where she feels valued, chosen, and desired. Take control of your schedule to meet hers. Initiate plans that foster closeness. Men, mastery over intimacy begins with mastery over your presence. This sign is not just about quantity of time, but the quality of it. Quality time means vulnerability. It means showing up as your authentic self, ready to listen, to share, to build trust. Remember the words of Aristotle. Friendship is a single soul dwelling in two bodies. When a woman prioritizes time with you, she's offering you a piece of her soul. Will you accept it, or will you let it slip through your fingers? Consider the psychology behind this. Humans are wired for connection, but connection requires effort, shared experiences, emotional safety, mutual attention. A woman ready for intimacy knows this deeply, so she invests in it. Her actions reveal her inner world, her desire to move beyond superficiality and into genuine closeness. If you don't recognize these signals, you risk missing a rare opportunity. Fear of missing out, FOMO, is real here, because once time passes, you can't get those moments back. And intimacy, once lost or neglected, is hard to regain. The stakes are high. When a woman chooses to spend time with you, she's testing the waters, gauging if you're ready to be the man who can hold space for her. She's inviting you into a sacred dance. If you hesitate, the invitation fades. So rise to the challenge. Meet her effort with your own. Make her feel seen, wanted, and treasured. As the legendary coach Tony Robbins puts it, the quality of your life is the quality of your relationships. The quality of those relationships depends on time, attention, and presence. She's handing you the key. Will you unlock the door? To every man reading this sign demands your action now. Don't wait for perfect timing. It will never come. Take control. Prioritize her like she prioritizes you. Your future of intimacy depends on it. Engage her with a simple message. I see you. I value you. I am here. Let this be your mantra. Let your actions echo your words. Only then will you build a connection that transcends mere desire and becomes unbreakable. Comment below with one word that captures your commitment to making time for the woman who matters. Like this message if you're ready to step into your power. Subscribe for more insights that will transform your relationships and your life. Time is the ultimate test of love and readiness. Don't let this moment pass you by. Be the man who recognizes, respects, and reciprocates the priceless gift of time. And if you find today's content very interesting, please give me a word of encouragement by commenting "very interesting" in the comments section. That is a huge motivation for us. Thank you. Sign 5. She shares personal stories and feelings. One of the most profound, yet often overlooked signs that a woman is truly ready for intimacy is when she begins to share her personal stories, her deepest feelings, and her innermost thoughts with you. This is far more than simple conversation. It's a delicate act of trust and emotional connection that opens the door to something much deeper than surface-level companionship. When she talks about her past experiences, both the triumphs and the setbacks, her dreams for the future, and even the fears that haunt her, she is signaling a powerful sense of safety and comfort in your presence. This willingness to be vulnerable is no small thing. It is the very foundation upon which intimacy is built. Ancient Stoic wisdom reminds us that true relationships flourish only when trust is deeply rooted. As Seneca once wrote, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you, and opening up about personal stories is one of the surest ways to deepen the bond between two people." In real life, many men might mistake this sharing as mere storytelling or small talk, failing to recognize the courage it takes for a woman to reveal these hidden layers of herself. It's important to understand that sharing personal stories and feelings is a silent invitation, an offering of her authentic self, complete with all the beauty and scars that come with it. When she lets you into her world, showing you her dreams, hopes, and vulnerabilities, she's saying without words, "I trust you enough to be seen, really seen." This kind of openness is the emotional equivalent of laying down arms and saying, "Here I am." It marks a transition from casual acquaintance to a deeper emotional alliance. Think of it as if she's handing you a key to a private room where her true self lives, her joys, fears, regrets, and aspirations, all gathered in one place. This space is sacred, not given lightly, and when she entrusts it to you, it means she believes you will honor and respect what she shares. It's a powerful signal that the intimacy she's seeking is not just physical, but emotional and spiritual. Real intimacy cannot flourish without this level of openness because it creates a shared reality, a world that exists between the two of you alone. In everyday life, when a woman opens up like this, your role is to meet her with patience, empathy, and respect. Too often, men feel the pressure to fix problems or jump into solutions instead of simply listening and holding space for her emotions. But true connection happens when you listen not to respond, but to understand. This kind of presence creates an environment where intimacy can bloom naturally. The Stoics valued this kind of mutual respect and mindful listening. Marcus Aurelius said, "When another blames you or hates you, or people voice similar criticisms, go to their souls, penetrate inside and see what sort of people they are. You will realize that there is no need to be racked with anxiety that they should hold any particular opinion about you." Similarly, when a woman shares deeply with you, your response should come from your own inner calm and respect, not anxiety or defensiveness. This attitude helps build the emotional safety she needs. Moreover, the act of sharing stories and feelings is a way for her to test the waters of your relationship, to see if you can be trusted with her real self. It's a gradual process, often beginning with small glimpses of vulnerability that grow over time. She might start by sharing a childhood memory or a cherished dream, then move to more sensitive topics as the connection strengthens. This progression mirrors the slow unfolding of a flower, delicate and deliberate. Recognizing and honoring this pace shows emotional intelligence and respect for her boundaries. In your own experience, consider moments when someone close to you revealed something personal. How did it affect your relationship? Chances are it deepened your understanding and made your connection more meaningful. This is precisely what happens when a woman shares her inner world with you. You are not just hearing a story, you are being invited into her soul. The famous writer Anais Nin once said, "We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are." This reminds us that how we respond to vulnerability reveals our own readiness for intimacy. If you approach these moments with openness and kindness, you cultivate a relationship grounded in trust and mutual respect. For men between 35 and 70, this sign is particularly important because life experience often teaches caution and restraint. You might be tempted to protect yourself by keeping emotional walls up, but understanding this sign means embracing the courage to be emotionally present. As you reflect on your own relationships, ask yourself, have you been fully present when a woman shares her feelings? Or have you allowed distractions or judgments to interrupt the flow? Becoming mindful of this can transform your connections dramatically. In practical terms, if you notice her sharing personal stories and feelings, lean into it. Ask thoughtful questions that show genuine interest and encourage her to keep sharing. Avoid interrupting or offering quick fixes. Instead, offer your attentive presence. Sometimes, that is the greatest gift you can give. Remember the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. By being the person who listens and honors her vulnerability, you succeed in creating a true, lasting intimacy. In closing, this sign, the sharing of personal stories and feelings, is a powerful marker of her readiness for intimacy. It's a reminder that intimacy is not just about physical closeness, but the courage to be emotionally naked before another human being. When she shares these parts of herself with you, it is the highest compliment of trust and affection. I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences with vulnerability and trust. How has sharing your inner world deepened your connections? And for those still learning, how might you become more open and receptive to these moments? Share your thoughts and personal stories in the comments below. Your reflections can inspire others to recognize these precious signals and build relationships rooted in genuine emotional intimacy. Sign 6. She remembers small details about you. A woman who is truly ready for intimacy reveals this readiness not through grand proclamations or overt gestures, but through a profound attentiveness to the small, often overlooked details that define who you are as a person. This attentiveness goes far beyond casual memory or polite acknowledgement. It's a deep, deliberate focus on the little things that shape your preferences, habits, and life story. She takes note of your favourite foods, not simply because she wants to please you with a meal, but because remembering this detail connects her to your world in a meaningful way. She recalls important dates, not just the obvious ones like birthdays or anniversaries, but those quiet, personal milestones that hold significance to you, even if you've never spoken about them in depth. The way you take your coffee, whether it's black with cream or a splash of something sweet, is another subtle but telling detail she keeps in mind, recognizing that these daily rituals are part of what makes you uniquely you. This level of careful observation and remembrance is not accidental. It is a deliberate act that signals her emotional investment in building something lasting and significant. In a world increasingly dominated by fleeting digital interactions and surface-level conversations, this kind of focus on the intimate details of your life stands out as a beacon of genuine connection. It shows that she values you deeply and wants to know you beyond the superficial, hinting at a desire to move toward a relationship that is rooted in understanding and respect. For men aged 35 to 70, many of whom have experienced the ups and downs of relationships, this kind of attentiveness is a subtle but profound signal worth recognizing. It challenges the common misconception that intimacy is all about physical closeness or grand romantic gestures. Instead, it reminds us that true intimacy often grows quietly through shared knowledge and appreciation of each other's inner worlds. When a woman remembers your quirks, preferences, and meaningful moments, she's effectively saying, "You matter to me." This is a powerful affirmation, especially in today's fast-paced society, where genuine attention is a rare gift. It encourages men to respond in kind, cultivating a reciprocal attentiveness that fosters trust and deep emotional connection. By embracing this wisdom, drawn from old Stoic principles that emphasize mindfulness and presence in relationships, men can learn to appreciate the nuanced ways intimacy reveals itself. They can also be inspired to mirror this behavior, showing that they too value the intricate details that compose their partner's identity. In practical terms, this means paying closer attention to your partner's likes, dislikes, stories, and memories, and bringing these up naturally in conversation. It's about creating a space where both people feel seen and understood, which is the fertile ground from which intimacy flourishes. When you recognize and appreciate a woman's memory for your small details, you affirm her emotional investment and open the door to a deeper connection. Moreover, this attentiveness helps build emotional safety, a cornerstone of intimate relationships, because it shows that both of you are willing to engage fully with each other's inner lives. In a culture often obsessed with speed and convenience, slowing down to notice and remember the small things can transform your relationship into a rich, enduring partnership. Ultimately, the lesson here is timeless and deeply human. Intimacy thrives when we are truly known and valued for who we are, right down to the smallest details. The Old Stoic wisdom reminds us that presence and mindfulness are key to meaningful relationships. And in today's world, where distractions abound, this focus on the little things becomes even more critical. So, for any man seeking to build or deepen intimacy with a woman, recognizing when she remembers these small details is not just about appreciating her care. It's about honoring the profound emotional bond she is trying to nurture. Respond with your own attentiveness, patience, and understanding, and you'll find that intimacy grows naturally, becoming a lasting and fulfilling part of your shared journey. Sign 7. She invites you into her inner circle. When a woman begins to invite you into her inner circle, introducing you to her closest friends, family, or trusted confidants, it's a powerful and unmistakable signal that she is ready to take your relationship to a deeper level. This act goes far beyond casual socializing. It represents a meaningful expression of trust and vulnerability. By opening up this personal part of her life to you, she is communicating that she sees you as someone significant, someone she respects and feels safe with. Inviting you into her circle means she is not only ready to share her present world, but also willing to envision a future where your lives are intertwined on multiple levels. In today's fast-paced, often emotionally disconnected world, this step carries even greater weight, reminding us of the value of authentic human connection and the courage it takes to truly open oneself up to another person. This invitation might appear in subtle ways, like casually mentioning her close friends or family in conversation, or in more deliberate actions, such as arranging gatherings or private meetings where you get to know the people she trusts most. Each of these moments reflects her desire for you to become part of the foundational support system that shapes her life and happiness. It's an act that mirrors the ancient wisdom of Stoic philosophy, which holds that strong relationships are built on trust, shared values, and a willingness to blend lives rather than keep them separate. Understanding this sign and responding to it with genuine appreciation, respect, and openness is crucial. When you honor her invitation, you reinforce the trust she has placed in you and help build a deeper emotional and social connection that goes well beyond the physical aspects of intimacy. This creates a solid foundation for a lasting partnership where both of you feel secure, valued, and connected not only to each other, but also to the wider circle of relationships that enrich your lives. In a modern context, where distractions abound and relationships can often feel surface level or transactional, this gesture stands out as a deliberate and meaningful step toward creating something real and enduring. It challenges you to be present, to engage fully, and to appreciate the importance of being woven into the fabric of someone's life, not just as a temporary companion, but as a trusted and cherished partner. By embracing this opportunity, you affirm your commitment to building a relationship based on depth, honesty, and mutual support. This stage of connection is where true intimacy begins to flourish, because it moves beyond physical attraction into emotional unity and social integration. It invites both partners to share their worlds openly, creating a shared life filled with trust, respect, and the kind of closeness that stands the test of time. Ultimately, when a woman invites you into her inner circle, she is extending a rare and precious gift, one that reflects her readiness to build a meaningful partnership. Recognizing this gift and responding with warmth and sincerity not only honors her courage, but also lays the groundwork for a relationship that can grow stronger with each passing day, enriched by the bonds you create together with the people who matter most in her life. This is the kind of connection that brings lasting joy, stability, and fulfillment, embodying the timeless truth that intimacy is not just about closeness between two people, but about weaving a shared life that supports, nurtures, and sustains both of you through all of life's challenges and triumphs. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Remember, the words a woman chooses, and the way she communicates often hold much more than what's on the surface. Compliments, flirtatious remarks, affectionate tones, these are subtle but powerful signals showing she's ready to deepen your connection. When you respond with genuine attention and respect, you create a safe space where intimacy can grow naturally and beautifully. Here's the real takeaway. Don't rush or ignore these signs. Instead, be present and mindful. The way she looks at you, the little touches that linger just a bit longer, the softness in her voice, these are all invitations. By recognizing and honoring these moments, you not only build trust, but also lay the foundation for a deeper, more meaningful relationship. So, my sincere advice to you is this: listen carefully and respond thoughtfully. Understanding these subtle cues isn't about tricks or guessing games. It's about connecting on a human level with honesty and respect. When you do that, intimacy isn't just a goal. It becomes a natural part of your relationship's rhythm. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing for more insights like these. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts, experiences, or questions in the comments below. I love hearing from you and helping you navigate the path to stronger connections. Stay tuned for more wisdom and guidance coming your way. Until next time, take care of yourself and those you care about. See you soon! When does she start missing you for real? Old Stoic wisdom. Not the fleeting kind of missing, no shallow boredom or empty words. I mean the profound, soul-stirring awareness that your presence once meant more than she ever fully admitted, even to herself. This awakening doesn't come from constant texts or desperate chasing. It arises when you gracefully step back, when you become a quiet, steady force, scarce yet composed, unshaken by the noise. Let's explore the 11 subtle signs that mark the moment she starts missing you in a way that truly matters. Number 1. The silence after the storm. When the storm of a breakup or distance settles, it's not the noise that speaks loudest, but the silence that follows. And this silence is where she begins to truly miss you. In the immediate aftermath, emotions rage, words fly in heated exchanges, accusations and defenses clash. But once the storm quiets, your silence becomes a powerful presence louder than any argument. It's in this stillness that the first seed of missing you takes root. During the chaos, it's easy for her to convince herself that space is necessary, that both of you just need time apart. Yet, your silence isn't accidental or passive. It's intentional, a quiet strength that communicates more than words ever could. You're not anxiously waiting for a message or watching her every move online. Instead, you've chosen to hold your ground with calm resolve. Picture her opening her phone expecting the familiar ping of your name, a message, a missed call, only to find nothing. Days turn into a week, and the absence of your presence weighs heavier with each passing moment. What she once took for granted, your attention, your steady presence, the way you could center her amid chaos, is now replaced by an echoing void. This is where the real impact lies. It's not merely your absence that hurts her, but the dawning realization of what that absence truly means. Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. The pain she feels is not caused by you leaving, but by the understanding that you are no longer waiting, no longer chasing, no longer caught in the cycle of needing her validation. Your silence speaks volumes. It says you have chosen peace over persuasion and self-respect over desperation. It signals that you won't beg for attention or try to convince someone to see your worth because you've reclaimed your energy and placed it firmly back in yourself. This silence marks a turning point not only for her, but for you as well. It reveals how powerful calmness can be and how not reacting doesn't mean indifference, but rather a deep care for yourself and your dignity. It's an unspoken message that love does not have to be chaotic to be real, and that sometimes the strongest thing a man can do is to stand firm in quiet confidence. If you find yourself in this silence now, resist the urge to fill it with noise. Let it breathe. Allow her to feel the weight of your absence and the truth that follows when the distractions fade. Because after the storm has passed and the arguments cease, what remains is the undeniable truth that sometimes the loudest statement is made in silence. I want to know, have you ever experienced this kind of silence? Not as punishment, but as peace? The silence born not from anger, but from finally valuing yourself enough to walk away without drama. Share your thoughts in the comments, or if you have embraced calm over chaos, simply leave this phrase. My silence wasn't empty, it was full of strength. Your story might be exactly what another man needs to hear today, a reminder that true strength often lies not in noise, but in the quiet power of self-respect. Number 2, when her routine feels empty. When her daily routine starts to feel hollow, when the small, seemingly insignificant rituals, the texts that made her smile, the quick calls that punctuated her day, the shared memes that sparked inside jokes, all suddenly vanish. That's when she begins to truly sense your absence. It's not an immediate pang of missing you, but rather a subtle, creeping void where your presence once lived so naturally, so consistently, that she hardly noticed it until it was gone. Picture the moment she unlocks her phone, instinctively expecting a notification from you, only to find nothing there. It's in these quiet, almost invisible spaces that absence weighs the heaviest. When she laughs at something funny and reaches out to share it, only to hesitate, remembering the silence, it's not just you she misses, it's the comfort and warmth that your presence brought to her everyday rhythm. You became the steady background to her life, the familiar beat to which her days moved. And when you stepped away, that beat stopped without fanfare. She scrolls through her phone, hoping to find a flicker of that feeling again. But no other message, no other person can fill that unique space you once occupied. Your absence isn't a loud, dramatic loss. It's the quiet stillness that follows a favourite song when the music abruptly stops, leaving a lingering sense of something precious having slipped away. This realization dawns slowly, teaching her that connection isn't just about grand gestures or moments of intensity, it's about the consistency, the presence that threads through the mundane details of everyday life. When that thread unravels, even the smallest parts of her day feel disrupted and off-kilter. Here lies a profound truth. You are not the one who is lost in this. Rather, you have chosen to step away from a space where you are not fully valued or appreciated. This is not an act of punishment or spite, it is an expression of self-respect and dignity. This is where your stoic strength quietly reveals itself. Instead of rushing back to fill the silence with desperate texts or pleas for attention, you embrace stillness, choosing discipline over neediness. Marcus Aurelius, a titan of Stoic wisdom, reminds us that it is not things that disturb us, but our judgment about them. She judged your presence as a given, a constant certainty, until the moment it became uncertain, and now she must sit with that uncomfortable truth. Perhaps she won't voice it aloud, perhaps pride keeps her from reaching out, but beneath it all, the rhythm of her life, once pulsing with your energy, has grown colder and more barren. That daily routine she took for granted wasn't just habit or coincidence, it was you. Let her experience that emptiness, not as an act of vengeance, but as a boundary you set to protect your own worth. Your silence is not indifference or neglect. It is the embodiment of discipline, a calm strength that refuses to be drawn into chaos or neediness. When she finally acknowledges what she's lost, she will not merely miss the man you were, but the version of herself that felt whole and alive simply by having you woven into her everyday existence. In modern life, where distractions abound and connections are often fleeting, this lesson resonates deeply. The greatest presence is often the quietest. The most profound impact is made through consistent, reliable presence rather than dramatic gestures. For you, the lesson is clear. Value yourself enough to walk away when you are not fully cherished, and trust that absence, carried with dignity, speaks volumes more than empty words ever could. When she feels the quiet emptiness where your presence once was, that's when she truly starts missing you. This isn't about rushing back or chasing attention. It's about standing firm, embracing your own worth, and letting silence speak louder than any desperate words. True strength is discipline, not drama. If you're ready to own that strength, drop this in the comments right now. I am the man who values himself above all. Number 3. When other men don't measure up. When other men don't measure up, that's when she truly starts missing you, not just in passing, but deep in her bones. It's not because you shouted louder or gave her more dazzling words. It's because you held a presence no one else could match. She meets others, yes, but there's a void that none of them fill. They come with loud voices, cheap jokes, flashy gestures, and desperate attempts to impress. They flood her world with noise, distractions, and hollow charm. But what they bring is surface level, a glittering facade that shines briefly before fading into forgettable nothingness. Meanwhile, you, without trying, without performing, left an indelible mark. You showed up fully, with calm strength, steady as a rock in a storm. You didn't chase validation. You didn't scramble to win her over with desperate moves. You simply were. That difference, that rare quality of true presence, lingers long after you're gone, haunting her thoughts, stirring her memories, pulling at her heart. She may be on a date with someone new right now. He's saying all the right things, trying to charm, trying to be the center of attention, but she finds her mind drifting. Not because she's holding on, but because her body remembers. It remembers the safety you created without words. It remembers the silence you didn't rush to fill, the way your calm steadied her anxious soul. That quiet confidence you carried wasn't a tactic or a game. It was your essence, something no man can fake or replicate. As Marcus Aurelius famously declared, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." That's exactly what you did. You didn't strive to outshine or outplay anyone. You rooted yourself in self-awareness, integrity, and an unwavering calm that demanded respect. You embodied strength without aggression, power without noise. And now, no matter how many men attempt to dazzle her with superficial tricks, she can't help but sense the difference. It's like comparing a flickering candle to an unmovable lighthouse. The others are fleeting flashes. You are the steady light that guides. In today's chaotic world, where everyone is competing for attention, loudly, aggressively, even desperately, your quiet power is a rare jewel. The world rewards the flashy, the fast-talking, the constantly busy but true mastery comes from restraint, from knowing your value without needing others to confirm it. When you are grounded, you become magnetic. This is not just old Stoic wisdom. It's a timeless truth that transcends age and culture. The men who try to impress with noise and speed end up forgotten, while the man who is at peace with himself leaves a lasting impression. It's not about competition. It's about being the standard she can't settle for less than. You taught her without saying a word. Your presence spoke louder than any boast or bravado. You didn't have to perform to be remembered. You were remembered because you were real. When she compares, it's not because she's fickle, it's because she's recognizing the difference between noise and substance, between temporary thrills and lasting calm. And that realization is what creates true longing, true missing. You became the benchmark for what presence really means, and now everything else falls short. She can't help it. She tries to move on, but deep down she's drawn back to that sense of security and authenticity only you could provide. Men, this is your call to action. Don't waste your energy on hollow performances. Don't get lost in the chase for fleeting validation. Instead, embody the power of calm, the strength of steady presence. Cultivate yourself. Root yourself in the values that don't shift with the wind: integrity, self-awareness, quiet confidence. Like Marcus Aurelius said, stop debating what a good man is and simply be one. When you do, you don't have to chase or beg. You command respect effortlessly. You become the man who leaves a mark, who creates longing, who becomes unforgettable, not because you shouted the loudest, but because you stood firm in who you are. Remember this. Presence isn't about noise. It's about the depth you carry silently. It's about being a man who doesn't need to prove himself because his worth is self-evident. The moment she starts missing you for real is the moment she recognizes what true presence feels like, and no other man can match that. The rest are distractions, noise fading into the background. You are the constant she returns to in her mind, the calm in her storm. Own that power. Be that man. If you're ready to rise above the noise and claim your true strength, like this post, comment below with "I am the calm in the storm," and subscribe for more powerful truths that will change how you show up in the world. Don't settle for being a fleeting spark. Be the steady flame that burns long after the crowd has gone silent. Number 4. The mirror moment. This is a profound point in any connection where she finds herself looking into the mirror and seeing far more than just her reflection. She sees a version of herself that she hasn't encountered in a long time, a woman transformed subtly but unmistakably by the time she spent with you. It begins quietly, almost unnoticed, like when she catches herself brushing her hair while a song plays softly in the background, the very same song that once echoed through your car on long drives. In that instant, it's not just the memory of you that surfaces, but the memory of her, the woman she was when you were near. She recalls the softness she allowed herself to feel, the genuine laughter that came without hesitation, and the peaceful ease in her eyes, born from the rare feeling of being truly safe, seen and valued. The reflection she now sees is not the same because it's missing something essential, the calm, clarity and space for authenticity that you brought out in her. This wasn't about grand gestures or dramatic acts. It was about a quiet strength, a steady presence that didn't force or manipulate, but simply held space for her to become more of who she wanted to be. You were a mirror reflecting her higher self back to her, not by performance or demand, but through the authentic way you lived your truth. As Epictetus wisely said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." You never lost yourself trying to win her over. Instead, you stood firm in your identity, inviting her to meet you there, not by pressure, but by the natural energy of your being. Without that presence, the mirror she once gazed into is now clouded, and the version of herself she felt alive as has become a distant memory. This moment of reflection is deeply human. It forces us to compare our current selves to who we were when we felt most aligned, most at peace, and most alive. When she experiences this mirror moment, it creates a subtle but powerful ripple, a quiet longing not just for you, but for the self she was with you. This kind of missing is unlike ordinary nostalgia or attraction. It touches the core of identity. It's the difference between attachment, which fades with time, and impact, which lingers in the echoes of memory and reflection. The mark you left was not because you tried to change her, but because you remained true to your own purpose, creating a space where she could flourish. This is the essence of real connection, when your steadiness invites another to rise, rather than conform or diminish. Now, I want you to take a moment and reflect on your own journey, because while she may be searching for the woman she was with you, you too have been evolving. You've become the man who not only holds space for others, but honours and protects his own space with even greater respect and power. This growth is both rare and profound. Maybe you've already experienced this dynamic in your own life, the realization that someone came into your world and brought out something real in you, not by changing you, but by meeting your grounded presence with their own. This is the true power of being rooted in your identity. I encourage you to share your story. What did your mirror moment look like? Or if you want to keep it simple, just drop this in the comments. It wasn't just about her, it was who I became around her. Because often, the strongest reminder of your worth doesn't come from who misses you, but from who you've become without them. This insight is not only humbling, but empowering, as it reminds us that the most meaningful connections are those that reflect and enhance our truest selves. Carry this wisdom forward in your relationships and your life, knowing that your authentic presence has the power to inspire and transform, not just others, but most importantly, yourself. Number 5. When you stop watching. When you reach the point where you stop watching her, the stories, the posts, the subtle signals you once eagerly tracked, you step into a space of profound transformation, one that quietly shifts the dynamic between you two in ways that are felt more than spoken. Remember when you used to scroll through her updates, liking a photo here, leaving a brief comment there, or sending a quick reply to her stories? Those small but consistent actions were your way of remaining present, a silent reassurance that she still lived in your thoughts. To her, these gestures were more than casual social media interactions. They were proof that a piece of you lingered within her orbit, that you cared enough to show it in the digital spaces she shared. But now, the silence is deafening in its absence. No likes, no views, no reactions. It's not the loud clashes or heated arguments that leave the deepest marks on someone's memory, but rather the absence of presence where it was once expected most. This shift isn't dramatic. It doesn't scream, but its weight is heavy because it reveals a fundamental change. You are no longer a spectator in her life. The silence you create isn't born from bitterness, frustration, or anger. It's intentional, a deliberate act of reclaiming your focus and your power. When a man stops watching from the sidelines, he stops investing his energy in someone else's performance and instead turns his gaze inward. This redirection leads to a powerful realization. The only thing you can truly control is yourself, and in that control lies your greatest strength. Your withdrawal forces her to notice the absence of what she once took for granted. She checks her story views, hoping to see your name pop up like it used to, a small but steady sign of your attention. When it's not there, a quiet anxiety starts to grow, an echoing question that unsettles the mind. Why isn't he watching anymore? This moment marks a subtle but profound shift, because she hasn't just lost your attention, she's lost your energy, the emotional currency that once fueled the connection between you. From a Stoic perspective, attention is currency, and a grounded man spends it only where it aligns with his peace and purpose. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not caused by the thing itself, but by your estimation of it. This wisdom illuminates what is truly happening here, not just a change in your actions, but a transformation in your perception. You no longer find value in surface-level validation, the fleeting approval found in social media, likes, or superficial engagement. Without fanfare or announcement, you have raised your standards and quietly adjusted your internal boundaries. This is not about punishing her or playing games. It's about respecting yourself enough to stop feeding a connection that no longer serves your growth or peace of mind. When you stop watching, you take away the stage where she once performed, the spotlight that illuminated her in your world. In this withdrawal, something remarkable happens. She begins to recognize what your quiet presence once held: depth, intention, and stability. These are qualities that cannot be replaced by digital noise or shallow interactions. They come from a man who is grounded in himself and no longer distracted by the need for constant external validation. Now, reflect on where you place your attention in today's hyper-connected world, where distractions are endless and the temptation to watch someone else's curated life is strong. Are you still tied to observing her, living in the shadows of her updates and stories? Or are you building your own life with strength, clarity, and authentic presence? Because the moment you stop watching her is the moment you begin to watch yourself with new eyes, focused, purposeful, and aligned with what truly matters. Ironically, this shift draws her attention back to you, not through noise or desperation, but through the quiet power of a man fully engaged in his own path. In modern life, where distractions are constant and superficial connections abound, this Stoic wisdom is more relevant than ever. Your attention is precious, your energy finite. Guard it wisely, invest it in your growth, your passions, and your peace. When you respect yourself enough to withdraw from what no longer serves you, you create space for genuine connection, grounded in mutual respect and authentic presence. This is the true moment when she begins missing you, not because you chased her or clung to the past, but because you reclaimed your life and your attention, embodying a strength and stability that commands quiet admiration. Number 6. When she remembers the calm. When she begins to truly miss you, it's not because you dazzled her with words or swept her away with grandiose displays. No, what she longs for is far deeper, far more profound. She remembers your calm, that quiet strength you carried that didn't shout for attention but commanded respect simply by existing. In a world where life spins wildly, where work stress, endless notifications, shallow conversations, and constant noise cloud her mind, your calm was her sanctuary. You were the eye of her storm. You weren't loud, frantic, or emotionally volatile. You didn't rush to fix every little problem or react with unnecessary drama. Instead, you were steady. You were grounded. Your presence didn't try to impress. It simply was. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who mastered himself amidst the chaos of empire, said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." You brought that retreat into every moment with her. You carried an internal stillness that radiated outward, shaping the space between you both into a haven of peace and control. This calm wasn't cold or distant. It wasn't passive submission or silence out of fear. It was the essence of true power, strength under control, mastery of self, presence without effort. She begins to notice this contrast starkly when she encounters others. Maybe it's a new acquaintance who talks endlessly, tries too hard to impress, or gets triggered by every little inconvenience. Maybe it's someone who offers advice before truly listening, who fills the silence with noise rather than understanding. In those moments, the memory of you creeps in, quiet, steady, unshakable. She doesn't miss the words you said because it was never about the words. It was about the energy you brought, the calm you embodied. That calm became the standard she subconsciously measures every other man by. Because life's chaos is thrilling in bursts, but exhausting in reality. Chaos is loud, unpredictable, and draining. Calm is home. Calm is survival. Calm is strength that doesn't shout, but holds firm like bedrock beneath a raging sea. She missed more than a man. She missed the peace you represented. The peace that felt like safety, a refuge from the endless storm. This is where the modern man must understand something crucial. Being calm, centered, and self-controlled in today's overstimulated world isn't weakness. It's the highest form of strength. It's what sets you apart from every other man, desperate to be seen and heard. It's the magnetic force that draws her back, even when she doesn't realize it yet. The truth is, your calm wasn't a lack of passion or emotion. It was a mastery of them. You didn't seek control over her. You had control over yourself. You chose when to speak, when to act, and when to simply be. That intentionality shaped how she experienced safety, respect, and trust. And now, in the silence left by your absence, she feels the void of that steady peace more than anything else. The world around her is loud, impatient, and chaotic, but what she truly craves is the quiet strength only you possessed. That's the mark of a man who lives with purpose, who isn't driven by ego, but by principle, who understands that true influence comes from stillness, not noise. who knows that lasting attraction is built not on excitement, but on security. So if you want to be the man who leaves an indelible mark, who becomes the standard others can't match, cultivate your calm like a warrior hones his sword. Own your stillness. Command your presence. In this age of distraction and haste, your calm is your most potent weapon. Let it speak louder than any boast or promise ever could. Because when she starts missing you, she isn't missing just a man. She's missing the peace, the strength, and the unshakable refuge that only you can provide. As the philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. React with calm. Be unmovable. Be the anchor in her storm. And if this truth resonates with you, don't just keep it to yourself. Like hint, comment 'I own my calm' and subscribe for more guidance to sharpen your edge and build the life of strength, mastery, and respect you deserve. Remember, the world rewards the man who controls himself first. Be that man. Be the calm she never forgets. Number 7. The emotional trigger. It's remarkable how something as simple as a song, a place, or even a scent can suddenly flood her mind with memories, triggering feelings she neither planned nor controlled. Perhaps it's that quiet cafe you once frequented together, nestled in a corner where laughter felt effortless and time seemed to slow down just for you two. Or maybe it's a song playing on shuffle. The very track she once told you reminded her of the way you were. Steady, genuine, present. In that fleeting moment, her world stops. Not because she wants to, but because the emotional weight crashes through her defenses without warning. This is the undeniable power of emotional triggers. They bypass logic and reason, striking quietly when she's least prepared, while scrolling through her phone, driving in silence, or even when she's pretending to be fine for the world around her. What hits her isn't just a recollection of you, but the feeling she had when you were near, safe, seen, grounded. It's that sensation of being fully understood and unshaken, like an anchor in a restless sea. Here the wisdom of Stoicism reveals itself, not through cold detachment, but through the profound strength of presence. You never grasped at moments out of fear or desperation. Instead, you embraced them fully, knowing that time is a gift rather than a given. This calm certainty, this rootedness in the now, gave your time together true depth. You weren't just passing through her life, you created lasting imprints by simply being genuinely there. It's why, long after you've stepped away with quiet dignity, it's not your face or your words she recalls, it's your presence. The kind of presence that radiates a calm strength, a stillness that fills the room and lingers in the air. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts. Your calm presence dyed her memories with something unforgettable. So when she finds herself frozen in a moment, triggered by a scent or a photo, it's not nostalgia for the past. It's the echo of what you were in her present. That's the paradox. By refusing to cling, you left a mark deeper than any desperate attempt to be remembered ever could. This is the essence of the man Stoicism molds. Not loud, not desperate, but deeply felt in the silence between words and moments. It's the quiet confidence that shapes a lasting emotional impact without attachment. Let that idea sink in, that your calm presence, lived fully in the moment, can leave a more profound impression than any grand gesture or dramatic declaration. As Seneca once advised, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future, and it's this enjoyment of the present, without fear or grasping, that etches you into her memory in a way that feels timeless. Real life reflects this beautifully. Perhaps you've noticed someone pause, suddenly, lost in thought, triggered by something small, a song on the radio, a smell carried by the wind, a place that holds 1,000 silent conversations. These moments reveal what truly sticks with us isn't always the events themselves, but the feelings tied to them. For men between 35 and 70, who may have experienced love, loss, and the quiet passage of time, understanding this can be transformative. Instead of trying to force connection or hold on too tightly, the advice is to be present, to live fully without clinging, and to cultivate calm strength. When you do, you create an emotional legacy that quietly moves someone's soul long after you've gone. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. Have you ever experienced such a moment where something small unexpectedly triggered a flood of feeling? Whether it was from your own side or from someone else's, share what this stirred in you. Drop your thoughts below, or simply leave this sentence in the comments. It wasn't the memory of me. It was the feeling I brought with me. Let's keep this conversation alive, because next we'll explore a moment she never saw coming, one that could change everything. Number 8. When you don't react. Picture this. She posts something online, maybe a subtle quote meant to tug at your curiosity, or a carefully chosen, seductive photo meant to get your attention. In our digital age, these posts are often more than just casual shares. They are calculated moves designed to elicit a reaction, to remind you that she's still there, still hoping you're watching, still testing the waters of your interest. She expects the usual pattern: a quick like, a comment, a direct message sliding into your inbox, or any small signal that shows you still care, that you're still emotionally present. But this time, you don't bite. You don't engage. Your silence isn't accidental, it's intentional. A quiet refusal to play the game on her terms. This silence speaks louder than any words could. At first, it sparks confusion. She wonders, did he not see it? Did he miss it, or worse, did he see it and simply not care? That subtle post, which was meant to stir a reaction, instead becomes a mirror reflecting her uncertainty back onto her. This is where the emotional shift begins. What started as her attempt to control the narrative, to manipulate the emotional ebb and flow, turns into a question mark. That power she thought she held suddenly slips away because you have quietly taken it back, not by responding, but by withholding response altogether. Your stillness transforms from absence to presence. In a world that demands constant interaction and immediate feedback, this deliberate choice to remain unmoved carries immense weight. It says you are not easily swayed, not a man to be pulled into the drama or the chase. You're not ignoring her out of spite or punishment, but because engaging no longer serves your peace of mind or your dignity. You have learned to master the pause, to observe without needing to intervene, to hold your ground without flinching. This is Stoicism in its purest form. The ancient philosopher Epictetus reminds us, it's not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. You have shifted your opinion. No longer do you view her posts as triggers demanding a reaction, but as mere events that pass through your awareness without disturbing your inner calm. Your attention is no longer a currency to be spent impulsively. It is a treasure you dispense wisely. You no longer chase breadcrumbs or scramble after fleeting sparks of validation. Instead, you let her wander. You allow the silence to echo where your attention used to be, creating a void that naturally pulls at her emotions, making her question, reflect, and ultimately long. When a man stops reacting, he becomes unpredictable, and in unpredictability lies power. In today's hyper-connected world, where responses are instantaneous and availability is assumed, a man who holds back becomes a mystery. He disrupts the expected script, which is what makes him unforgettable. This unpredictability isn't a ploy or a game. It's a demonstration of self-respect and emotional sovereignty. You are no longer a player in the drama. You are the calm center around which it spins. You don't need to prove anything to anyone because you've grown beyond that stage of life. Your energy is precious and you protect it fiercely. The more she attempts to pull a reaction from you and fails, the deeper she feels the absence of your presence. And the absence speaks volumes because it once meant something real. It's the presence she took for granted that now haunts the space you've chosen to vacate. So, you stay still. You remain unmoved by the noise and chaos swirling around you. This stillness is not apathy, it is mastery. It is the deliberate choice to embody calm strength rather than reactive impulse. This is the difference between a man who responds to life with frantic reactivity and a man who answers with silence, purpose, and self-respect. In modern life, where distractions abound and emotional responses are often dictated by algorithms and social pressures, cultivating this kind of quiet power is a rare and invaluable skill. It teaches us that true influence isn't always in what we say or do, but often in what we choose not to say or do. When you master this, you don't just become unforgettable, you become a man who commands respect, commands his own peace, and sets the standard for how a mature, grounded man carries himself in a noisy, impatient world. This is old Stoic wisdom made relevant, a reminder that sometimes the most profound connection comes not from reaction, but from the strength of silent presence. Number 9. The contrast hits like a thunderclap in a silent room. She begins to compare her current experiences with the unshakable presence you embodied, the way you listened with intention, held your composure like a fortress, and never once sought validation from her or anyone else. This awakening doesn't happen in a flash. It unfolds slowly, like a creeping tide reshaping the shoreline. She finds herself sitting across from a man who talks endlessly but never truly hears, or one who desperately fishes for approval with every word, his insecurity loud and clumsy. That's when the truth crashes in. With you, there were no gimmicks, no desperate attempts to impress or be impressed. You were calm, composed, anchored in your own strength. That stillness you carried wasn't emptiness, it was power. She may have taken it for granted at the time, unaware of the rare quality she was in the presence of. But now, faced with noise that's all surface and no depth, she feels the void where your grounded energy once was. This is the undeniable force of being centered. The old Stoics knew it well. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who mastered himself amidst chaos, said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." You lived this truth every day. You didn't chase fleeting praise or validation. Instead, you built an emotional fortress, a climate where she could be at ease, but never in charge of your peace. That's the difference she's only now starting to grasp. She once believed that more words meant more connection, that constant attention meant deeper care. But now, that excessive effort rings hollow, cheap, like a show put on to mask insecurity. Your quiet, steady presence, once invisible to her, is now a beacon she deeply underestimated. The contrast isn't just about what's missing, it's about the rarity of what you had. You were the calm in a storm of noise, the steady anchor in a sea of chaos, and this kind of presence leaves a mark, an indelible impression that echoes long after you're gone. It's the energy of a man who knows himself, who doesn't flinch at silence, who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. This is modern life's greatest challenge, to remain unshaken when everything around you demands frenzy and validation. Yet that is your power. Own it. Command it. Because when she starts to miss you for real, it's not just a pang of nostalgia, it's a deep recognition of the strength you carried, a strength that no showy display or desperate plea can replace. Remember what Seneca said. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. You never craved. You never begged. You ruled your inner world like a true king, and that's the energy that lingers, haunting her thoughts now. If you want to reclaim that power or hold on to it forever, don't waste it on noise or approval. Be the man who creates his own emotional kingdom, steady and unyielding. The kind of presence that makes others feel small in comparison and makes her realize what real strength looks like. This is not just advice. This is a call to action. Stand tall, hold your ground. Be the man who is missed not for what he said, but for who he was, unmovable, unshakable, undeniable. If you're ready to live this truth, to master yourself, and leave a lasting mark, then hit like, comment below with the phrase, "I am the master of my own soul," and subscribe for more powerful insights. This is your moment. Take control. Because when the contrast hits, only the strong remain unforgettable. Number 10. When you've clearly leveled up, you've evolved. When a man truly levels up, when he evolves beyond the old versions of himself, the shift is undeniable and irreversible. She notices it, not in the loud proclamations, not in the flashy changes, but in the quiet power that now radiates from your being. It's in the calm that fills your eyes, the steady strength in your every move, the silent message that you no longer chase what you once needed because you've found yourself. This isn't about a new haircut or the gym gains or the way your presence suddenly commands respect. It's deeper, rooted in unshakable inner peace and clarity. You don't need to announce your transformation to the world. You don't need to rub your progress in her face. You just become that man, consistent, composed, unbothered by chaos and focused on what truly matters. When she glimpses you through mutual friends, social media, or a fleeting encounter, she feels it, the shift in her chest, a sharp sting of realization that the man she thought she knew no longer exists in the orbit of her world. She remembers the you who forgave easily, who was always available, but now there's a boundary that's palpable, even across the screen. This isn't coldness or spite, it's a deliberate realignment of your standards. As the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts." Your thoughts have transformed, and so has your soul. If her energy softens, if her eyes linger longer when you cross paths, it's not just a glance, it's the dawning understanding of what it means to lose someone who found peace without needing her closure. This is not your burden. Your role isn't to justify your glow-up or revisit the past. Your mission is to keep evolving, relentlessly, unapologetically, for yourself alone. Own this power. Own this growth. In a world that clings to drama and chaos, be the calm storm that moves forward with purpose. Remember the words of Nietzsche. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Your why is your evolution, your mastery over yourself. She may miss you, not for the man she thought she had, but for the man she lost to his own greatness. Let that truth fuel your ascent. This is your time. This is your life. Don't look back. Like if you're ready to own your growth, comment with one word that defines your new self, and subscribe to keep rising beyond every limit. And there it is. The moment she truly starts missing you isn't when you disappear overnight. It's when you evolve quietly, when your presence stops showing up where she used to expect it, and your peace starts speaking louder than any words you ever said. It's not about playing games or making her suffer. It's about you stepping into your power, choosing growth over chasing, stillness over noise, self-respect over validation. And that shift, that's what she feels. That's when the missing begins. Not for the version of you she took for granted, but for the version she never saw coming. If there's one takeaway from today's video, it's this. Your absence only creates impact when it's backed by real inner change. So don't wait for her to notice. Let your life speak. Let your silence teach, and let your calm be the reminder of the man you've become. Now I want to hear from you. Which moment do you think hits her the hardest? Drop your thoughts in the comments or simply type, "She didn't expect the silence to echo this loud." If today's message spoke to you, if you got value from this, give it a like. It helps the message reach more people. And don't forget to check out the other videos on screen for more insights on self-growth, relationships, and silent strength. Until next time, stay grounded, stay focused, and protect your peace. How to be her priority, not an option. Old Stoic wisdom. Love is not about possession. Love is about appreciation. Osho, what if the reason you're not her priority isn't about her at all, but about the way you're showing up in your own life? You've been trying to impress her, bending yourself to fit into her world, but it's not working. You're getting sidelined, overlooked, treated like a fallback plan. Here's the hard truth. Chasing her approval won't make you her priority. Chasing your own standards will. If you keep acting like you're expendable, you'll be treated like it. But imagine flipping that script. Not through manipulation or playing games, but by embracing a mindset that's endured for over 2 millennia. A mindset that makes you untouchable, respected, and above all, a man who values himself first. This is the essence of Stoicism: mastering your emotions, taking control of your life, and becoming the man she can't help but see as the prize. When you become the man you were meant to be, she'll fight to stay by your side. Today, I want to share a truth that can transform everything you thought you knew about relationships. How to make sure you're always the priority, never the afterthought. No gimmicks, no manipulation, just deep practical philosophy and psychology that will help you reclaim your worth. And the best part? You do it without chasing, without begging, and without losing yourself in the process. You've been sold a lie that being nice, always available, and bending over backward will win her heart. How's that working out? Ghosted, ignored, feeling invisible. It's time to stop being her backup plan and start being her priority. I'm not saying treat her poorly, that's weak. What I'm saying is start treating yourself with the respect you deserve. Women don't want the guy who's always there on demand. They want the man who lives by his own rules, who commands respect by mastering himself. Why? Because deep down, they honor strength. The strength that comes from self-control, confidence, and purpose. Let's dive in and learn how to stop being an option and become the man she can't afford to lose. Number 1. Why you're always the backup. Here's the first thing you need to understand. The reason you're not a priority is because you act like you're not a priority. Period. She knows with certainty that no matter what happens, whether she cancels plans last minute, disappears for days, or treats you like an afterthought, you will be there, waiting patiently, always available. This is not by accident. It's the message you send by how you conduct yourself. In the eyes of many women, availability can easily translate into dispensability. If you truly valued yourself, would you accept such disregard? Of course not. Men who understand their worth do not linger in the shadows of someone's attention, nor do they tolerate being treated as an option. As the ancient Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Your problem is not her. It is the power imbalance you've allowed. By being constantly at her beck and call, by eagerly answering texts within seconds, and always agreeing to her terms, you hand her the reins to your self-respect. This dynamic inevitably casts you as her plan B, a fallback for when the person she truly desires, often someone who challenges her, respects himself, and does not bend to her whims, is unavailable. You wait for the scraps, and the cruelest part is you permit it, because the fear of losing her blinds you to the reality that respect cannot grow from fear or desperation. Women don't respect men who are too accessible. Respect is born from scarcity, from having a life that does not orbit solely around her. Think about a rare vintage wine or a limited edition watch. Its value is in its rarity. The same applies to how you carry yourself in relationships. When you honor your own time and refuse to be a convenience, you shift from being a fallback to being someone she desires to pursue. This is not manipulation. It's self-respect. It's a message that your world is bigger than her and that your time and attention are precious commodities. The moment you demonstrate this, your status shifts fundamentally. She will no longer see you as a backup plan, but as a prize worthy of effort. As Seneca wisely noted, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Don't waste your time waiting in line for someone who doesn't see your value. Instead, live a life so full that she must prioritize you to remain part of it. But this lesson transcends romantic relationships. If you find yourself always in the backup role with her, chances are this dynamic pervades other areas of your life, whether at work, among friends, or with family. This pattern of placing others' needs before your own stems from societal conditioning that equates kindness and availability with success and love. Unfortunately, in many real-world scenarios, especially in relationships, the so-called nice guy often finishes last, not because kindness is wrong, but because excessive accommodation signals a lack of inner strength and self-value. You may be kind, but if you don't protect your own boundaries, you inadvertently communicate that your needs and your time are less important. This is a fundamental disconnect. If you don't respect yourself, how can you expect others to respect you? The Stoics remind us that the foundation of a good life lies in self-mastery and dignity. As Epictetus taught, no man is free who is not master of himself. Mastering yourself means knowing when to say no, when to hold firm, and when to walk away. It means cultivating a life with purpose, interests, and ambitions, independent of anyone else's validation. Real-life advice here is simple but profound. Cultivate your own passions, invest in your goals, and foster friendships and activities that enrich your spirit. When you do this, you become magnetic, not desperate. You don't chase, you attract. When a man has his own life, his own mission, he commands respect naturally, and women sense this strength. It's not about arrogance or playing games. It's about embodying the wisdom of old Stoics who understood that true value comes from within and is recognized from without. You cannot be her priority if you make her your only world. Instead, be the man who walks into a room with confidence, calmness, and a sense of self that is unshakable. That's the man who becomes the priority, not the option. So I encourage you to reflect on this. Are you truly living as a man who commands respect and values his own time? Or are you still waiting in line as someone's fallback? Change begins with awareness and action. As the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." Find your why, live it fiercely, and watch how your relationships transform. Share your thoughts or experiences below. What have you learned about being her priority, not the option? Your story could inspire others on the same path. Number 2, master the art of mystery. In today's world, where every detail of life is broadcasted instantly through social media and endless texts, a man who reveals everything about himself too quickly loses the powerful allure of mystery that women naturally crave. When she knows exactly what you're thinking, where you're going, and what you plan to do next, her interest diminishes because the spark of unpredictability fades away. This art of mystery is not about playing manipulative games or being dishonest. Rather, it's about cultivating an air of unpredictability that keeps her intrigued and engaged. In the early stages of any relationship, predictability can be fatal. When you become an open book, you remove the opportunity for curiosity, which is a crucial ingredient in attraction. Many men today fall into the trap of over-communication, sending good morning and good night texts, and giving constant updates about their every move, hoping to appear attentive and caring. But this constant barrage of information is not romantic. It's stifling. When you constantly shower a woman with attention, you deprive her of the chance to wonder about you, to miss your presence, and to build mental images of you that keep her hooked. Think about it. Attraction thrives on the unknown, on what's left unsaid and unseen. Instead of responding to her casual, "What are you doing tonight?" with a full itinerary, offering every detail, respond with a touch of ambiguity. Say, "Got a few things going on, might be out later. How about you?" This subtle shift creates a psychological flip. You become less predictable and more intriguing. By withholding some information, you invite her imagination to work in your favor, planting a seed of curiosity that grows stronger over time. She starts to think about you more, wondering who you are beneath the surface, what kind of life you lead, and what possibilities lie in wait. This is the essence of being a man who is her priority rather than an option, someone she is drawn to, not because she has every detail, but because she senses there is more to discover. Modern life, with its constant connectedness, makes this all the more important. In a time where it feels like everyone is always available, a man who shows that he is living his own meaningful life, with interests and priorities beyond his phone screen, stands out. He is not at her beck and call every moment, and that scarcity only heightens her desire and respect. Being elusive isn't about coldness or neglect. It's about valuing yourself enough to keep your life full and rich, and letting her see only as much as you choose to share. This balance nurtures respect and attraction simultaneously. So when you master the art of mystery, you don't just keep her interest, you make yourself unforgettable. Because attraction is not built on predictability or constant availability, it's built in the unknown, the space where curiosity and desire grow. She won't be fantasizing about the man who texts her every 5 minutes, but about the man who lives fully, moves with purpose, and reveals just enough to keep her wanting more. If you want to be her priority, not just an option, master the art of mystery, stop oversharing, live with purpose, keep her guessing, and watch her desire grow. Remember, attraction thrives in the unknown, not in constant availability. Now drop this in the comments if you're ready to step up. I'm the man who lives with purpose and keeps her wanting more. Like this video, subscribe for more timeless wisdom, and own your power every day. Number 3. Setting stoic boundaries that demand respect. This is where most men falter, where they quietly slip from being the priority to fading into the background as just another option. Understand this. Boundaries are not about control or being harsh. They are the ultimate declaration of self-respect, the fortress that protects your value and your time. If you fail to set them, she will set them for you, and those boundaries will never work in your favor. Picture this scenario. It's 11 p.m., and she sends you a last-minute text asking to hang out. What do? If you drop everything and rush to her side, you've just proven that your life revolves around her spontaneous desires. That's not strength, that's weakness disguised as eagerness. But if you reply, "Sorry, I'm busy tonight, but let's plan for tomorrow," you've just drawn a line that says your time is precious, your priorities are clear, and you won't be manipulated by last-minute whims. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, reminded us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Real strength lies in your ability to set and hold your boundaries with unwavering conviction. Boundaries are your shield, guarding your time, your energy, your emotional investment. They are your declaration that you are not here to be played, strung along, or treated as a fallback option. If she's dating others while keeping you on hold, you must draw your line in the sand. I'm not interested in being one of many. Either we are exclusive or I walk away. That's not an ultimatum, it's a standard. If she can't respect it, you leave, without drama, without excuses, with your dignity intact. Because when respect is lost, attraction dies. It's that simple. The world is full of men who beg for scraps, who let their boundaries crumble under pressure, who surrender their value for a chance to stay close. Don't be one of them. The fear of missing out, FOMO, will try to trap you into being available on demand, into saying yes when your gut screams no. Reverse that psychology. Make her feel the urgency of your standards. Let her know that your time is a precious commodity, and if she doesn't meet your terms, you have a life full of opportunities beyond her. This is how you transform from being an option into becoming the man who commands respect, who sets the tone, who leads the relationship with quiet authority. Your boundaries must be non-negotiable. You don't negotiate your worth. You don't waver or soften. You are the master of your domain, and your standards are the laws. Every time you reinforce those boundaries, you build respect. Every time you bend or break them, you lose ground. This is not just theory, it's strategy. It's ancient wisdom fused with modern reality. Today's women can sense hesitation, weakness, and indecision. They respect the man who knows what he wants and refuses to settle. As Theodore Roosevelt said, "Courtesy is as much a mark of a gentleman as courage." Being firm in your boundaries is not rude. It is courageous respect for yourself and her. So act now. Set your boundaries. Guard them fiercely. Demand the respect you deserve. Because when you do, you don't just change the game, you become the game. Like this message if you're ready to claim your priority status. Comment below your boundary mantra and subscribe for the no-nonsense guide to becoming the man she can't stop respecting and wanting. Your time is now. Your value is undeniable. Don't be the option. Be the priority. Number 4. Why actions speak louder. In today's modern dating world, it's all too common to see men caught in a never-ending loop of talking rather than doing, spending countless hours texting, explaining themselves, and desperately trying to convince her that they are the good guy. But here's a fundamental truth that's often overlooked. Women don't truly care about the words you say. They care deeply about what you do. You might think that by telling her how serious you are about the relationship, how much you care, or how different you are from the rest, you're making meaningful progress. However, to her, this is just noise. Familiar lines she's heard repeatedly from men before. Statements like, "I'm different," "I'm serious about you," and "I'm not like those other guys" have become cliches, worn thin from repetition, and women instinctively know it. While you're pouring your heart out, trying to convince her through words, she's silently thinking, "Let's see if he can prove it." This is where most men miss the mark. The power doesn't lie in what you say, it lies in what you consistently show through your actions. This idea is deeply rooted in the wisdom of the Stoics, who understood that character is revealed not by promises or speech, but through unwavering deeds. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic emperor, wisely advised, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This quote encapsulates the essence of what it means to be a man of action. When your actions speak louder than your words, you send a powerful message. You are a man of integrity, a man who does not feel the need to explain or justify himself endlessly. Instead, you demonstrate your worth through consistent, decisive actions that build trust and respect organically. Women naturally gravitate toward men who embody this quality. Men who do what they say without needing to shout it from the rooftops, who remain calm, composed, and self-assured because they are validated by their own success and consistency, not by external approval or validation. In real life, relationships are built on more than just grand declarations or flowery compliments. They are forged through everyday actions, showing up when it matters, following through on promises, listening attentively, and being reliable even when no one is watching. For instance, a man who takes the time to understand her needs and supports her quietly in moments of stress shows more commitment than someone who floods her phone with texts saying, "I care." Similarly, being punctual, remembering important dates, and prioritizing her in small, tangible ways demonstrate dedication far more effectively than any verbal assurances. This is the difference between being her priority and merely an option. To truly internalize this, consider the men you've seen women respect and admire. Are they the ones endlessly texting and seeking validation, or the ones who act with quiet confidence and let their consistency do the talking? The latter stands out because they don't get caught up in trying to prove their worth with words. Their behavior and integrity are proof enough. This Stoic approach is about cultivating patience, discipline, and self-mastery, traits that foster long-term trust and attraction, which are crucial for meaningful relationships, especially for men aged 35 to 70 who seek to build lasting connections. As Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." In other words, your life itself is the message you send. In your own journey, start by focusing on what you do rather than what you say. Be the man who leads by example, who delivers on his promises, and who demonstrates respect through action. Avoid the temptation to over-explain or seek validation, because a man confident in his value lets his deeds build his reputation naturally. This approach not only deepens intimacy, but also establishes you as someone reliable and worthy of being her priority, not just a fleeting option. Relationships built on this foundation have resilience and depth, standing the test of time much better than those reliant on empty words. If you've been stuck in the endless cycle of words without action, it's time to break free. Stop explaining and start proving, because only consistent, decisive actions make you her priority, not just another option. Remember, integrity isn't spoken, it's shown. Comment below and declare it loud and clear. I will show my worth through actions, not empty words. Let's build a brotherhood of men who lead by example. Number 5. Reclaiming your time. This is not just advice, It's a commandment for every man who refuses to be anything less than a priority. Too many men sacrifice their own lives, constantly bending, rearranging, and sacrificing their time to fit hers. This is a trap that strips away your power and your respect. Hear me clearly, a man who doesn't value his own time will never be valued by a woman. Period. The moment you become the man who's always waiting for her call, the man who cancels his own plans to fit hers, you hand over your power on a silver platter. And once that happens, you're done. In today's dating arena, women see countless men bending over backwards for attention. They know the game. They've got guys lined up, willing to drop everything just for a chance to be with her. But respect? It doesn't come from being the guy who's always available. Respect comes from the man who is on his grind, who lives with purpose and who isn't afraid to say no. I can't make it. I have other plans. Those words must become your armor, your shield, your truth. Because when you show her that your time is valuable, more valuable than hers at times, you shift the dynamic. You stop being the option and become the priority. If you're constantly making yourself available, you're telling her her time is more important than yours. That's a sign of weakness, not strength. But the moment you flip the script, something powerful happens. She starts chasing your time. She begins to realize she can't snap her fingers and expect you to drop everything. She starts respecting you because you've made yourself scarce, valuable, and purposeful. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom. No man is free who is not master of himself, said Epictetus. When you reclaim your time, you reclaim your power. You make her work for your attention. You make her earn your presence. Because a man who values his own time is a man that women fight to be around, not one they take for granted. Think about this in the context of modern life, a world overflowing with distractions, endless notifications, and constant demands on your attention. Your time has never been more precious, and guarding it has never been more critical. This is why a man with boundaries commands respect. He's a fortress of strength in a sea of weakness. You are not here to be anyone's afterthought or fallback plan. You are the prize. You are the man who lives by his own rules, who puts his purpose first, and who demands the same respect in return. It's not arrogance, it's self-respect, and women can feel it. Women respect men who lead with intention, who don't apologize for setting boundaries, and who operate from a place of confidence and clarity. This isn't just about relationships. It's about your life, your mission, and your legacy. When you stop chasing and start commanding, you flip the whole game on its head. Remember what Oscar Wilde said, "Always forgive your enemies, nothing annoys them so much." In this case, forgive the temptation to be overly available. Let it go because it weakens you. Instead, stand firm, stand tall. Protect your time like a warrior guards his sword. The men who succeed, who win in love and life, are not desperate. They are deliberate. They are focused. They are the ones who set the terms, not the ones who bend to them. So here's your call to action. Start today. Reclaim your time. Schedule your life around your purpose, not hers. Say no without guilt. Prioritize your goals, your dreams, your health, your growth. Because when you do, you don't just become her priority. You become a man she respects, admires, and chases. Now, if you're ready to step into this power, smash that like button, drop a comment below with "I am the priority," and subscribe for more no-nonsense truths that will transform your life and your relationships. Remember, this isn't just advice. It's your blueprint for dominance in love and life. Own your time. Own your power. Own your destiny. Number 6. The power of emotional detachment. The power of emotional detachment is arguably the most potent weapon you can wield in any relationship, especially when striving to be her priority rather than an option. Before you jump to conclusions and think emotional detachment means shutting down or being cold, understand this. Being emotionally available and being emotionally dependent are not the same. Emotional availability means you're present and genuine, but emotional detachment means you aren't controlled or manipulated by her moods, reactions, or games. The moment a woman senses she can manipulate your feelings, whether by ignoring your texts, cancelling plans last minute, or tossing out subtle tests, she gains control, and that's where you lose your power. Imagine this scenario. You're texting her, and suddenly her responses turn icy. No more playful emojis, just cold, one-word replies. Most men would spiral into overthinking, replaying conversations, questioning their worth, and desperately trying to fix things. But you, having embraced emotional detachment, remain calm, knowing her behavior reflects her own state, not your value. Your confidence stays unshaken because your happiness isn't tethered to her every reaction. When she doesn't respond immediately or cancels plans, it's simply an opportunity for you to invest your time elsewhere, keeping your life rich and full. This isn't about indifference, but about maintaining your emotional sovereignty, which ironically makes you far more attractive. Women are wired to seek stability in a chaotic world, and when you're that unshakable presence, a rock amid uncertainty, you become irresistible. What's more, emotional detachment is not just a strategy for managing her actions, it's a crucial practice in managing yourself. When you stop seeking constant validation from women, you reclaim your mental space and energy to dedicate to your true priorities, your goals, passions, and life's purpose. A man with purpose is magnetic because he's driven by something bigger than fleeting emotions or social approval. He's not easily swayed, not desperate for attention, and therefore not someone anyone can control. This steadiness and independence are profoundly attractive because they signal maturity and strength, qualities deeply rooted in ancient Stoic wisdom. The Stoics taught that true power comes from within, from mastering your own mind and emotions, rather than trying to master external circumstances or people. In today's world, where emotional manipulation is often subtle and pervasive, this old wisdom is more relevant than ever. Being emotionally detached doesn't mean you don't care. It means you choose to care about yourself first. You create a foundation of self-respect and self-reliance that naturally elevates your value in any relationship. Instead of chasing her approval, you quietly lead a life worth admiring, and that's what makes her see you as a priority, not just an option. This balance of emotional strength and vulnerability, purpose and detachment, is the essence of being a man who commands respect and devotion effortlessly. So, embrace emotional detachment not as a defense mechanism, but as a tool for true freedom in love and life, becoming the man who is always steady, always purposeful, and always the priority. If you find today's content useful to you, don't forget to share your feelings and lesson with us, or simply comment, "Very cool." It's a great encouragement for our channel makers. Thank you very much. Number 7. The reciprocity rule. The reciprocity rule is one of the most profound, yet overlooked principles when it comes to relationships, especially for men between 35 and 70, who seek to be her priority, not just an option. Many men fall into the trap of giving everything, time, attention, emotional energy, only to receive a fraction of that in return. Maybe you send thoughtful texts that go unanswered, or get half-hearted replies that leave you wondering where you stand. Meanwhile, you know she's still seeing other people or prioritizing someone else. This imbalance isn't a coincidence. It's a direct consequence of the message you send through your behavior. When you consistently give more than you get, you teach her that it's okay to treat you as a backup plan, a convenience, or simply an option. The Stoic wisdom from ancient philosophers can shed light here. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts. If you think you deserve less effort, that's what you'll attract. But if you carry yourself with self-respect and expect balance, you will teach others how to treat you." Women, like all people, are masters of managing their effort and attention. They know exactly how much they need to invest to keep someone interested without overcommitting. If she appears too busy to text back or make plans, chances are she's making time for someone she considers a priority. This is not about your worth being less. It's about her priorities not aligning with you. The harsh truth many men hesitate to accept is that if you tolerate half-hearted effort, you invite it. If you settle for crumbs, you'll keep receiving crumbs. This is not manipulation, but a natural dynamic of human relationships. People give what they are allowed to take without resistance. This is why it is crucial to stop being overly accommodating. Instead of chasing harder, texting more, or trying desperately to rekindle fading interest, the smartest move is to pull back and let her feel your absence. Imagine you've been dating someone for a few weeks. At first, her enthusiasm is clear. She texts first, suggests dates, and seems genuinely interested. But as time passes, the energy shifts. You find yourself always initiating conversations, planning meetups, and trying to maintain the connection, only to be met with lukewarm responses or excuses about being too busy. Most men react by doubling down, believing that if they try harder, she will come back. But this is exactly where you lose your power. By pulling back, by ceasing to chase, you create space for her to decide whether she wants to match your effort. If she values you, she will notice your absence and start to prioritize you more. If she does not, she will drift away. And that is exactly what you want, because investing in someone who doesn't reciprocate is draining and futile. This principle isn't just about dating, it's about self-respect and knowing your worth. The Stoics teach us to maintain inner balance and not to be tossed around by the whims of others. Seneca said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." If someone isn't willing to meet your energy, they're not making you better, they're depleting you. The call to action here is simple. Demand reciprocity. This means recognizing when you're giving more than you're getting and having the courage to walk away or step back without guilt. True respect from a partner comes when you show you won't accept anything less than equal investment. Being a man who is willing to walk away is magnetic. It signals strength, self-control, and integrity. In real life, this might mean not answering every text, not always being the first to call, or not rearranging your schedule just to fit her availability. Instead, live your life fully. Pursue your interests, nurture your friendships, and carry yourself with confidence. The right woman will notice your independence and respect your boundaries. She will prioritize you because she sees your value and understands that you won't settle for scraps. This is not about playing games, but about setting clear expectations grounded in respect and dignity. To all the men who have felt invisible or taken for granted, remember that your time and energy are your most valuable assets. Give them wisely and expect nothing less than mutual effort. Your willingness to pull back and demand reciprocity isn't a sign of weakness. It's the mark of a man who understands his worth and refuses to be an option. Let this be your turning point to embrace Stoic wisdom, reclaim your power, and attract the kind of respect and love you deserve. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever found yourself giving too much without getting enough in return? How did you handle it? And what did you learn? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your insights might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to take control of their relationships and demand the respect they deserve. Number 8. Turning rejection into power. Most men falter the moment rejection touches their lives, whether she doesn't reply to your text, cancels a date last minute, or simply disappears without explanation, and suddenly everything about your worth feels up for debate. But pause and understand this deeply. Rejection isn't a verdict on your value. It's a reflection of her perspective, not your essence. When a woman turns you down, it's not a failure on your part, but rather a fortunate unveiling, a blessing disguised as disappointment. You might be clinging to the idea that you really liked her, but the reality is she was never truly yours to claim if she had to reject you in the first place. Her inability to see your worth lies entirely with her, not you. This is the pivotal mindset shift that transforms rejection from a crushing blow into the greatest teacher life can offer. Far from a setback, rejection is an opportunity, an invitation to elevate yourself. When she rejects you, she's unwittingly doing you a favor by revealing the areas where you need to grow, where your weaknesses hide, and where your true power begins. It's a call to reevaluate your approach, to build stronger boundaries, to refine your character, and to redirect your energy towards someone who genuinely appreciates your value. Rejection doesn't define you, it refines you. chiseling away what doesn't serve you to reveal a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. In the game of life and love, losing some battles is inevitable, and that's perfectly fine. Most women aren't rejecting you because of your shortcomings. They have their own desires and ambitions, often chasing the highest value man they perceive in that moment. If you don't fit their criteria now, they'll move on without hesitation, and that's their choice, not a reflection of your worth. So, why should you care? Because it's her loss, not yours. Viewing rejection as a personal attack only traps you in self-doubt and despair. Instead, use it as a mirror to inspect yourself honestly. Are you too available, lacking the firm boundaries that command respect? Were you chasing her instead of holding your ground? Rejection exposes these blind spots, but it's your response that makes all the difference. Rather than breaking under the weight of rejection, use it as a foundation to build strength. This is where the wisdom of the Stoics offers profound guidance. Don't react emotionally or drown in self-pity. Approach rejection with a cool, analytical mind and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Rejection is, paradoxically, a form of freedom. It liberates you from investing time and energy into someone who doesn't value what you bring to the table. Every time she ghosts you, cancels plans, or tells you she's not ready, express a gratitude. Yes, gratitude, because she's cleared the path for someone better, someone who will recognize and cherish your worth. The next time you face rejection, resist the pull of despair. Instead, channel that energy to improve yourself, to grow stronger, and to become the man who will one day have her wishing she never let you go. The best revenge against rejection isn't bitterness or resentment, it's success. Success in every area of your life, whether it's career, health, or relationships. When she sees you thriving, surrounded by people who appreciate your value and living a life that commands respect, she'll regret losing someone who was far more than just an option. Rejection then becomes not a final defeat, but a powerful catalyst, pushing you towards a future where you are the prize, the man who is prioritized, not just by her, but by yourself. If this message spoke to your heart today, leave a comment about faith. I am a high-value man. Number 9. Become her emotional anchor. Women live in a world ruled by emotions, waves of highs, lows, drama, and chaos that shift like the tide. To be her priority, not an option. You must stop reacting to that turbulence and instead become the calm she desperately craves. Most men fall into the trap of matching her emotional storms, trying to fix, to argue, to mirror her mood swings, only to lose their footing and become just another voice lost in the noise. You are not here to ride her roller coaster, you are here to steady it. The truth is brutal but simple. Women instinctively seek the man who stands firm in the storm, who doesn't waver or crumble under pressure. Why? Because stability is rare in a world where feelings run wild. When her emotions surge and pull others into chaos, you remain grounded, unshaken, and in control. This is your power, your weapon in a battlefield where most men lose their ground. While every other guy floods her phone with frantic messages, shows insecurity, or overreacts, you keep your composure. You don't flinch. You don't get swept away. You become the harbour she turns to when the tempest rages. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Mastering your inner calm transforms you from just another man to her irreplaceable anchor. This isn't just about patience. It's dominance. It's about commanding the emotional space she inhabits. It's about being the man she depends on, the rock she can always count on, the fortress that shelters her from every emotional storm. Modern life throws endless distractions, stress, and drama at her. Be the one who cuts through the noise with unwavering strength. This is not a suggestion, it's a call to action. Become the man who does not get lost in her chaos but leads her through it. Become the man who embodies Stoic wisdom, controlled, powerful, unwavering. When you do this, you don't just get her attention, you claim her loyalty. Every time she feels overwhelmed, every time the world spins out of control, she will seek you out. Because you are the calm, the anchor, the man she cannot replace. Don't be the guy who reacts. Be the guy who rules. Own this truth. Prove it daily. If you're ready to rise above the noise and own your place as her priority, like this message, comment, "I am the anchor," and subscribe for more. Take control. Be the calm in her storm. Number 10. The scarcity principle. The scarcity principle reveals a vital, though often uncomfortable truth. The more available you make yourself, the less she will value your presence. This harsh reality is a cornerstone of becoming her priority rather than just an option. Imagine this. If she knows you'll always be there, ready to answer her calls or drop everything for her, the urgency to secure your attention fades. Why would she fight to be a priority when you're freely giving away your time and energy? Women, by nature, are drawn to men who live purposeful lives, men who are engaged with their ambitions and passions rather than waiting idly by for a text or a call. When you respond instantly every time, you unintentionally communicate that your time lacks value. And if you don't respect your own time, why should she? This is where the scarcity principle plays its powerful role. By creating healthy distance and making your availability less predictable, you command more respect and interest. It's not about being cold or indifferent. It's about honoring your own worth and signaling that your life is rich with goals and meaning. Take a moment to consider men who naturally attract women. These men are busy, driven, and focused on their purpose. Women don't fit into their schedule. They are invited in because they enhance a life already full. By being less available, you prompt curiosity, compel effort, and subtly shift the relationship dynamics so she invests more emotionally and mentally in you. This creates demand, and where there is demand, you become irreplaceable. In essence, if you want to move from being an option to her priority, you must stop giving away your time and energy indiscriminately, especially to those who don't value you. This means setting firm boundaries, respecting yourself, and living according to your own values and aspirations. Embracing a stoic mindset, mastering your emotions, refusing to react impulsively to her games, and valuing your time transforms you into the man she can't afford to lose. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." By focusing on becoming your best self, rather than trying to please or control, you naturally become magnetic. This isn't about manipulation. It's about authenticity, self-respect, and balance. When your life is fulfilling, rich with meaning, and you maintain your own standards, she won't just want to be with you, she'll prioritize you. So ask yourself, are you living a life that demands respect? Or are you giving away your presence too easily? Share your thoughts below. How have you balanced availability and scarcity in your relationships? And what impact did it have? Your experience could inspire others on this path. If you found value in this video, hit that subscribe button and join our channel memberships if you can. Your support helps us continue to create high-quality content and make it accessible to as many men as possible. Let's spread this message to more men who need to hear it. Subscribe, like, and share to keep this conversation going and help more men become the priority they deserve to be. The dark truth about women that few know. Old Stoic wisdom. There are truths about love that are never spoken aloud. They hide beneath layers of romance and sweet metaphors, disguised as noble ideals. Most people avoid looking at these truths directly because doing so threatens to shatter everything they believe about love, connection, and forever. Yet, within these uncomfortable truths lies freedom, a freedom born from clarity, not illusions. Understanding these realities requires courage, for it means embracing imperfection and uncertainty. It is only by seeing love as it truly is, not as a fairy tale, that a man gains true strength and wisdom. This clarity allows him to build deeper connections rooted in honesty, respect, and resilience. 1. The fundamental difference: how men and women love. One fundamental truth that many men find difficult to accept is that women simply do not love the way men do. This is not about malice, deceit, or a lack of feeling on their part, but rather a profound difference rooted deeply in biology, evolution, and survival instincts that shape a woman's emotional world with a unique logic. Men, often driven by idealism and passion, tend to envision love as a grand, eternal flame, castles in the air built on dreams of unbreakable fusion and everlasting devotion. This romanticized vision is fueled by a desire for a singular, consuming bond, one that defies time and circumstance. Women, however, approach love through a pragmatic, discerning lens, shaped by unconscious drives honed over thousands of years of evolution to ensure their own survival and the welfare of their children. Rather than surrendering blindly to passion, women evaluate, select, and adapt to their partners based on criteria that go far beyond what meets the eye. Factors such as security, stability, social compatibility, and the potential for long-term cooperation. The ancient Stoics understood this kind of wisdom deeply, even if they did not speak directly about love between men and women. Seneca advised, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you," highlighting the practical, survival-driven mindset behind choosing relationships wisely. This notion aligns perfectly with the way women's emotional intelligence works. Love is not only about feeling, but about strategy, rooted in biology, but expressed through conscious and unconscious decisions. While men may think of love as an overwhelming emotional current that sweeps them away, women often see it as a steady river that must flow in harmony with practical needs and external realities. This contrast is neither a flaw nor a failure. It is a difference that can be celebrated and understood once men learn to step outside their own emotional frameworks. This biological and psychological divergence explains why men frequently misinterpret women's actions and intentions in relationships. When a man is ready to dive headfirst into love, expecting immediate and absolute commitment, a woman may still be cautiously testing the waters, assessing whether the relationship meets deeper needs beyond mere affection. This often leads to frustration, confusion, and even heartbreak for men who believe their feelings alone should guarantee reciprocity. Yet, from the woman's perspective, love is not a reckless surrender. It is a careful choice grounded in the realities of life, a choice that must survive the trials of time, stress, and change. As Aristotle wisely said, love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies, but this unity is forged not only through emotion, but also through shared values, trust, and mutual benefit. In real life, understanding this fundamental difference can transform a man's approach to love and relationships. Instead of demanding that women mirror their own emotional intensity, men would benefit from adopting patience and a willingness to see love as a multifaceted bond that evolves. Recognizing that women's love is often tied to feelings of safety, respect, and reliability allows men to focus on becoming the kind of partner who embodies these qualities. It is less about overwhelming passion and more about consistent presence, clear communication, and mutual support. For example, a man who listens attentively, respects boundaries, and demonstrates steadfastness often becomes far more appealing than one who simply pours out romantic words without grounding them in action. This practical, grounded approach aligns well with the Old Stoic wisdom that emphasizes self-control, reason, and acceptance of reality over idealized fantasies. Moreover, men can draw lessons from history and philosophy to enrich their understanding. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." This teaches us to embrace the reality of who our partners are, their unique ways of loving and expressing emotion, without trying to mold them into our own ideal. By accepting these differences and learning to appreciate the distinct rhythms of women's love, men can create relationships that are not only enduring, but deeply fulfilling. It also reminds us that love is a practice, a daily choice to meet one another with kindness, understanding, and realistic expectations. In practical terms, men should observe how their partners express care and affection, which may differ significantly from their own styles. For instance, A woman might show love through acts of service, nurturing or creating a secure home environment, rather than through grand declarations or constant physical intimacy. Understanding these different love languages allows men to respond more effectively and build a stronger connection. It is also crucial to recognize that women's love can fluctuate with life's pressures, work, children, social obligations, and that patience during these times is a mark of wisdom, not weakness. To truly grasp this truth about love requires more than intellectual acknowledgement. It demands emotional maturity and the willingness to grow beyond cultural myths about romance. The dark truth is not a cynical revelation, but an empowering insight. When men understand the biological and emotional logic women follow, they gain the power to connect on a deeper, more authentic level. This understanding dispels the frustration that arises from unmet expectations and replaces it with empathy and respect. I encourage you to reflect honestly on your own relationships and consider how embracing this nuanced view of love might change your approach. How have you experienced the differences in how men and women love? Have you noticed moments when patience and understanding transform tension into harmony? Share your experiences and opinions in the comments below, as opening this dialogue can help many men navigate the complexities of love with wisdom and grace. Remember, love is not merely a feeling, but a skill honed by insight, respect, and the courage to see beyond oneself. 2. The illusions we are told about love. From the earliest moments of our lives, we are immersed in stories that paint love as the ultimate remedy for all of life's wounds, tales that insist love heals every hurt, that sacrifice is always met with gratitude, that persistence is the truest form of romance, and that giving your all guarantees a return of equal devotion. These stories are woven into the fabric of our culture and upbringing, shaping how men understand what it means to love and be loved. However, this idealized version of love is often far removed from the reality many women live through. The lessons of Old Stoic wisdom remind us that love, while beautiful, is not always the gentle, reciprocal force these stories promise. Rather, it is a complex, often difficult dance marked by unspoken expectations, emotional subtleties, and the hard truths of human nature. Women's experiences of love frequently diverge from these romantic myths, not because they are less capable of love, but because love demands more than just sacrifice and persistence. It demands respect, security, and a balance of giving and receiving that is often overlooked in simplistic tales. In modern life, these illusions can be dangerous traps, leading men to persist in relationships under the mistaken belief that more effort will always eventually be rewarded, or that continuous sacrifice must earn affection. The reality, however, is that love does not operate like a ledger of transactions, and persistence without mutual respect can quickly become weariness, not romance. The Stoics would caution that true wisdom lies in understanding the limits of our control. While we can control our own actions and intentions, we cannot guarantee how others will respond. This insight is crucial because it allows men to release the need for constant validation and instead focus on authentic connection based on mutual respect rather than blind devotion. It is here that many men falter, trapped by cultural narratives that praise relentless pursuit and self-sacrifice as the ultimate expressions of love, while failing to acknowledge the equally important need for boundaries and self-respect. Women, in their experience, often seek not just love, but a partner who recognizes their value and honors it with consistent respect and emotional reliability, qualities that go beyond romantic gestures and require a foundation of stability and mutual understanding. This disconnect is why many men find themselves confused or frustrated when their persistence and sacrifice do not lead to the happily ever after they expected. The Stoics teach us that love must be approached with both courage and clarity, embracing the reality that it is not always fair or easy, and that expecting it to be so sets us up for disappointment. Recognizing that love involves navigating uncertainty and occasional imbalance allows men to cultivate patience without losing their sense of self-worth. In today's world, where gender roles and expectations are evolving, this wisdom is more relevant than ever. Modern relationships demand emotional intelligence and an ability to see beyond surface-level romantic ideals. Men who internalize these truths are better equipped to build partnerships that are resilient, deeply connected, and grounded in genuine respect rather than fantasy. Moreover, understanding this dark truth about love is not about cynicism, but about empowerment. It is the recognition that love, like any profound human endeavor, involves complexity and challenge, and that acknowledging these complexities leads to healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Instead of chasing illusions, men are encouraged to cultivate self-awareness, to communicate openly, and to appreciate the subtle ways women express their needs and desires. In doing so, they not only honor the woman they love, but also protect their own emotional well-being, avoiding the trap of unreciprocated sacrifice. Stoic philosophy reminds us that the greatest strength in love comes from inner mastery, the ability to love without losing oneself, to give without expecting return, and to accept the nature of things as they are, not as we wish them to be. In practical terms, this means approaching relationships with grounded expectations and a readiness to adapt. It means valuing actions over words, consistency over grand gestures, and mutual growth over romantic idealism. By embracing these lessons, seeing beyond the illusions of childhood stories allows men to engage with love not as naive dreamers, but as mature partners, capable of building relationships that withstand the tests of time and change. This deeper understanding is the legacy of Old Stoic wisdom, a guide to loving not blindly but wisely and well, in a world where few truly see beneath the surface of love's many illusions. 3. Schopenhauer's brutal clarity. Arthur Schopenhauer delivers a brutal clarity that shatters the comfortable illusions men cling to about love. He exposes what society has painted as eternal romance and soul-deep passion for what it really is, a biological mechanism carefully crafted by nature to ensure survival, protection, and the continuation of the species. The grand romantic narrative that men have idolized is, in fact, a social mirage, a projection that blinds them to the deeper truths of human behavior. This is not an attack on love, but a profound Stoic insight. Love, especially from the female perspective, operates not on whimsical fantasy, but on evolutionary imperatives. Women's instincts are rooted in natural selection, seeking security and stability above all else. They are wired to prioritize survival, to seek out a foundation upon which to build their future and protect their offspring. This drive is neither cruel nor disdainful. It is relentless and unyielding, and understanding it is the key to mastering relationships in a world that constantly tries to distract you with false promises of fairy tale endings. Schopenhauer's revelation is a call to awaken, a demand to see clearly the game at play. The ties that bind are invisible threads, as Nietzsche eloquently put it, but they are no less powerful because they are invisible. These threads are spun not from the airy fabric of romance, but from the steel of survival and strategy. Today's world, fast-paced and saturated with superficial connections, makes it easier than ever to lose sight of this primal truth. Men chase illusions, fall victim to emotional traps, and surrender their power because they mistake fleeting passion for lasting love. But a man who knows this truth holds an advantage beyond measure. He stands not as a naive dreamer, but as a master of his fate, who understands that real power in love comes from clarity, control, and strategic insight. He recognizes that women, driven by evolutionary imperatives, seek security and continuity, and he positions himself as the provider of that foundation, not through empty promises, but through strength, honor, and unwavering confidence. This is the modern man's edge, to see beyond the myths and wield this knowledge like a weapon. To dominate the battlefield of love, you must first understand the terrain. Love is not just emotion, it is a calculated survival strategy. When you grasp this, you stop chasing illusions and start building something real, something rooted in mutual respect, strategic alliance, and enduring power. You learn to set boundaries, to command your space, and to cultivate yourself as a fortress of stability. This Stoic wisdom transforms you from a passive participant into the architect of your own destiny. You become the man who doesn't just seek love, but claims mastery over it. In modern life, this knowledge is not just theoretical, it is practical and urgent. The distractions of social media, hookup culture, and fleeting validation create a minefield of false signals. Men who ignore Schopenhauer's lesson find themselves lost in a cycle of disappointment and confusion. Those who embrace it gain a competitive advantage, the ability to navigate relationships with precision, to read beyond surface emotions, and to invest their time and energy where it truly matters. This is not cold calculation. It is a profound respect for the forces that shape human connection. It is about becoming a man who commands respect because he understands the deeper game and refuses to be played. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who ruled with both wisdom and strength. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Master your understanding of love, and you master your mind. Master your mind, and you master your world. This is the path to victory in relationships and life itself. This is the kind of knowledge that separates the men who lead from the men who follow, the men who thrive from the men who survive. If you want to break free from the chains of illusion, to rise as the man who sees through the fog and commands his destiny, then this moment is your call to action. Embrace Schopenhauer's brutal clarity. Use it to cut through confusion and fear. Build your life around this truth. And don't just keep it to yourself, share it. Like this message if you're ready to own your reality. Comment below with, "I own my power," to declare your commitment to mastery. Subscribe for the relentless wisdom that will equip you to conquer every challenge, every relationship, every obstacle. This is not just philosophy. It's your blueprint for living as a man who commands respect, power, and ultimate freedom. The dark truth about women and love is no longer a shadow lurking in the background. It's your weapon, your insight, your key to victory. Use it. Own it. Dominate your life. 4. The pain of misunderstanding. When a man steps into a relationship with the expectation of unconditional love, he often faces a harsh biological reality that few are prepared for, and this clash between expectation and truth inevitably leads to profound pain. The man pours his time, energy, and vulnerability into the bond, believing that his unwavering dedication will be met with equal reciprocity. Yet, as days turn to weeks, he notices her growing distant, withdrawing emotionally without clear reasons or explanations. This experience is far more than mere heartbreak. It represents the complete dismantling of a carefully constructed fantasy, a vision of love and partnership that may have become central to his sense of self and identity. This is where the ancient wisdom of the Stoics speaks volumes. Epictetus reminded us, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Understanding that love, like life itself, is governed by forces beyond our control can empower a man to accept reality without losing himself to despair. The pain born from misunderstanding is often the darkest truth many men encounter about women, yet it also reflects a universal human experience. Women, influenced by deep biological imperatives and complex emotional landscapes, may respond to love and connection in ways that seem contradictory or even cold to those who do not see the underlying mechanisms at play. This doesn't mean their feelings are insincere or malicious. Rather, it highlights the natural ebb and flow of attachment and detachment embedded in human nature. Carl Jung wisely noted, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. When a man's reaction to distance is confusion or desperation, both parties risk losing their authentic selves in the process. Realizing this can be liberating, as it encourages emotional resilience and self-awareness, rather than futile attempts to force a connection that may not be sustainable. Relating this painful truth to everyday life, men are advised to recognize that unconditional love, as idealized, is not an entitlement, but a gift, one that cannot be demanded or guaranteed. Instead, building relationships grounded in mutual respect, clear communication, and realistic expectations serves better in navigating the unpredictable waters of human connection. The Stoics teach us that by focusing on what is within our control, our own actions, attitudes, and responses, we can maintain peace of mind regardless of external circumstances. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By internalizing this lesson, a man can begin to detach his self-worth from the shifting affections of others and instead cultivate a sense of stability rooted in his own values and integrity. Moreover, the Old Stoic wisdom also sheds light on the concept of vulnerability. Giving your time and energy in a relationship is an act of courage, but it must be balanced with self-protection and discernment. Recognizing that the withdrawal or disappearance of a partner often has less to do with your shortcomings and more to do with their inner journey helps to soften the sting of rejection. As Seneca advised, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favourable." In other words, clarity about one's own direction in life and relationships enables better navigation through challenges. Men who cultivate this clarity avoid becoming adrift in fantasies and instead anchor themselves in a reality that honours their own worth and dignity. In real-world terms, this means men should focus on building a strong foundation within themselves before investing fully in another person. Developing interests, friendships, and personal goals not only enriches life, but also makes one less dependent on another's affection for validation. When a partner grows distant, the pain is mitigated by the knowledge that your identity is not solely tied to that relationship. This perspective can be transformative, shifting the narrative from loss to growth. As Friedrich Nietzsche observed, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." The pain of misunderstanding, while difficult, is an opportunity to cultivate resilience, wisdom, and emotional maturity. To fully grasp this truth, it helps to see love as a dynamic dance rather than a fixed state. Like the seasons, relationships have cycles of closeness and distance, warmth and coolness. Accepting this rhythm prevents the trap of blaming oneself or the other for natural shifts. Instead, it encourages a balanced view that embraces impermanence and change as part of life's fabric. This outlook is echoed in the teachings of the Buddha, who emphasized non-attachment and the impermanence of all things. By approaching love with this mindset, men can avoid the deep suffering caused by clinging to illusions and unmet expectations. The pain of misunderstanding reveals a deeper, often unspoken truth about love and human nature that many men overlook until faced with it firsthand. The Stoic wisdom handed down through the ages teaches us to face this truth with courage, to embrace the reality without bitterness, and to grow through the experience rather than be crushed by it. I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences. How have you dealt with distance or withdrawal in relationships? What lessons have these moments taught you about love, identity, and resilience? Share your personal insights and stories in the comments below. Your perspective might help others navigating similar challenges find clarity and strength. Remember, true wisdom lies not just in understanding others, but in mastering oneself amidst the unpredictable currents of life. 5. Facing the truth. Different rules of love. Facing the truth about love can be one of the most sobering realizations a man will encounter, especially as he moves through the years between 35 and 70, when experience accumulates and illusions begin to dissolve. The harsh fracture often isn't in the relationship itself, but in the sudden awareness that you and she were never living the same story to begin with. While you may have nurtured a vision of love as a soul-deep union, an emotional sanctuary where two hearts intertwine in profound understanding and unwavering commitment, her experience of love is governed by a different set of rules altogether, rooted not in dreams, but in survival logic. Her love, stripped of romantic fantasy, is a functional bond. It adapts to circumstances, evaluates continuously the benefits and risks of staying connected, and can fade away, when a better or safer option appears on the horizon. This stark difference is not a failure of your affection or her loyalty, nor a flaw in your characters. It is biology playing out in its rawest form, the evolutionary instinct to preserve and optimize well-being in an often unpredictable world. Understanding this crucial divergence in how love is experienced and expressed frees you from the suffocating grip of unrealistic expectations. It dismantles the idea that love must always be an all-consuming, unwavering devotion and replaces it with a more pragmatic, stoic perspective. Love is, for many women, a tool shaped by millennia of survival, social strategy, and emotional economy. When you accept that her love is not a fairy tale but a strategy, you gain clarity and strength. You stop chasing a mirage and begin seeing her actions for what they truly are: adaptive responses meant to secure safety, comfort, and sometimes status, rather than eternal soul connection. This shift in understanding is particularly vital in today's world, where rapid social changes, shifting gender roles, and the omnipresence of digital temptation blur the boundaries of commitment and fidelity. The modern woman's love is often tested by a multitude of choices and distractions, making the bond fluid and contingent rather than fixed and absolute. For men who have long invested their emotional capital in the hope of a transcendent partnership, this truth can initially feel like a betrayal. Yet, if approached with wisdom, it becomes a doorway to deeper self-awareness and emotional autonomy. The ancient Stoics teach us to accept reality as it is, not as we wish it to be, and to build inner resilience through reason and discipline. Applying this to relationships means learning to recognize when you are projecting your desires onto a situation that simply cannot meet them, and instead cultivating a love for yourself that does not depend on external validation. You begin to understand that her withdrawal or emotional distancing is not a personal failure or rejection, but a natural outcome of her survival-oriented love system. This insight encourages you to maintain clear boundaries and emotional self-sufficiency, preventing the common trap of emotional codependency that leads to pain and confusion. Moreover, acknowledging the survival logic behind her love invites you to rethink how you engage with women and relationships in today's complex social landscape. Instead of seeking a mythical, perfect union, you focus on building connections based on honesty, mutual respect, and clear-eyed acceptance of human nature. This does not mean abandoning intimacy or passion. Rather, it means appreciating the transient, sometimes conditional nature of love and preparing yourself emotionally for its inevitable ebbs and flows. In practice, this can look like valuing your time and energy more wisely, investing in your own growth, hobbies and friendships, and communicating openly about needs and expectations without illusions. When you stop clinging to an idealized narrative, you gain the freedom to experience love as it truly is: imperfect, often challenging, but rich with opportunities for growth and companionship. In the context of modern life, where relationships often unfold against a backdrop of career pressures, social media distractions, and shifting cultural norms, embracing this Stoic wisdom is more than just theoretical. It is a survival strategy. It helps men maintain their emotional equilibrium amidst the uncertainties and complexities of love, allowing them to navigate rejection, change, or disconnection without losing themselves. This approach encourages men to see love not as a source of validation or identity, but as a dynamic interplay that requires balance, patience, and above all, self-respect. By understanding and respecting the different rules that govern male and female expressions of love, men can avoid the painful pitfalls of misunderstanding and heartbreak that come from misaligned expectations. Instead, they can cultivate relationships that honor reality, while also nurturing their own inner strength and peace. This hard-won clarity does not diminish the beauty or significance of love. It deepens it by grounding it in truth. Recognizing that her love operates on survival logic, while yours may seek deeper union, invites you to expand your emotional intelligence and embrace a more nuanced understanding of human connection. This ancient Stoic wisdom reminds us that love, like life itself, is a complex dance of acceptance and effort, attachment and detachment, hope, and realism. By facing this truth courageously, men can live with greater authenticity, navigate relationships with maturity, and find peace, not in illusions, but in the steady, enduring strength of self-awareness. 6. The dangerous cycle of idealizing. Many men stumble and fall when they confront the dangerous cycle of idealizing women, and it breaks them. They become bitter, resentful, even withdrawn. They lose faith. They question everything. But here's the hard truth that few dare to admit. Love is not what you think it is. Arthur Schopenhauer, the master of harsh clarity, didn't say stop loving. He said, see clearly. Love for a man is a battlefield, a negotiation, and a test of strength, not a fairy tale. To see clearly means to understand that men and women experience love in fundamentally different ways, and to refuse to be a victim to illusion. When you idealize, you blind yourself. You build a castle in the air, and when reality knocks it down, you crumble. The women you admire are human, complex, flawed, driven by instincts and needs that don't always align with yours. This is not bitterness, it is clarity. Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. You don't change women by worshipping illusions. You change yourself by mastering your perception. Idealizing is a trap that feeds resentment. You want a goddess, but you get a woman. You expect unconditional loyalty and receive conditionality. You believe in fairy tales and face harsh reality. This gap fuels disappointment and anger. Many men fall into this pit and never climb out. They carry bitterness like armor, isolating themselves from genuine connection and growth. But you will not fall. You will not become one of them. Why? Because you will learn the Stoic art of seeing clearly, accepting what is, and acting with purpose. You will refuse to be broken by what you cannot control. This wisdom is your weapon, sharper than any sword. Love is not surrender. It is a negotiation between equals, a dance where both partners bring their truths and vulnerabilities without illusions. Women are not angels sent to save you. They are powerful, independent beings with their own desires and limits. The old Stoics knew this. They taught that understanding the nature of people is the foundation of true power. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how, Nietzsche declared. Your why must be your clarity, your self-mastery, your refusal to idealize what cannot be idealized. When you grasp this, you free yourself. You become the master of your emotions, no longer a slave to fantasies. In today's world, this clarity is your armor in the battlefield of relationships. Social media, movies, and culture bombard you with illusions of perfection, of women as flawless, devoted, and endlessly loving. These are lies crafted to keep you chasing shadows, to keep you dependent on external validation. The truth is raw, but liberating. Women are human, just like you. They have fears, ambitions, moods, and contradictions. Your power lies in embracing this truth, not hiding from it. When you do, you gain a strength that no idealization can give. You become real. You become free. Here's the advice for you. Stop chasing illusions. Stop building castles in the air. Look women and love in the eye without rose-colored glasses. See their strengths and weaknesses. See their loyalty and their limits. Accept that love is not perfect, but it can be powerful if based on reality, respect, and mutual growth. Be the man who leads with wisdom, not desperation, who commands with calm, not rage, who wins not by chasing fantasies, but by mastering self and situation. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your reaction to the truth of love defines your power. Do not fear this clarity, embrace it. It is the path to becoming the man women respect and the man you deserve to be. Because once you see clearly, you will never be fooled. You will never be broken. You will never settle for less than you deserve. This is your edge in a world full of illusions. Remember, the men who win at love are not those who idealize blindly. They are the ones who see deeply and act decisively. Now, here's your call to action. If you're ready to step into this clarity, to master yourself and see love as it truly is, then stand up, and declare it. Comment below with, "I see clearly. I am the master of my fate." Like this message if it hits home. Subscribe to continue sharpening your mind and steel your spirit with timeless wisdom. Don't let the cycle of idealizing destroy your power. Break free. Be the man who leads, the man who conquers. The truth is yours. Own it, live it, dominate with it. 7. Reclaiming your power. Stop idealizing. You have lived through the subtle and often painful experience of giving too much, offering your time, energy, and loyalty without receiving genuine reciprocity in return. This imbalance doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in when you begin to reshape your own life to fit someone else's expectations, ambitions, or desires, often at the expense of your own dreams and well-being. You stop building your own kingdom, putting your own growth on hold, believing that such sacrifice is the hallmark of devotion or the price for love. Yet, this painful process is far from a noble sacrifice when it costs you your sense of self and personal power. The real bravery lies in admitting, "I allowed it, not as a burden of guilt, but as a declaration of reclaiming control." This is the moment you stop being a passive player in your own story and start taking ownership of your choices and boundaries. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By recognizing that you enabled this imbalance, you empower yourself to change it. This awareness clears the fog of idealization that often clouds our judgment. When we romanticize relationships or situations, we fail to see them for what they truly are, and that blindness keeps us trapped in cycles of disappointment and frustration. In practice, stopping idealization means accepting reality with its imperfections and complexities, rather than clinging to false hope or unrealistic expectations. It's about setting firm boundaries, prioritizing your own goals, and protecting your time and energy as the valuable resources they are. In the real world, this could mean saying no to demands that drain you, stepping away from relationships that don't nurture your growth, or dedicating yourself to personal projects and ambitions you may have neglected. As Seneca advised, if a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favourable. Knowing where your true priorities lie gives you the compass to navigate life's challenges without losing yourself. Remember, reclaiming your power is not about controlling others, but mastering your own mind and actions. It's about shifting from a mindset of victimhood to one of agency and resilience. When you take this step, you open the door to authentic strength, a strength that doesn't depend on external validation, but grows from within. I encourage you now to reflect honestly. Where in your life have you allowed yourself to be sidelined or diminished? How have you begun to reclaim your power and rebuild your kingdom? Sharing your journey in the comments can create a powerful dialogue, offering both insight and support to others who struggle with the same issues. Together we can break free from the chains of unrealistic idealization and move toward a life defined by self-respect, clarity, and true freedom. 8. The path to freedom. Freedom is a concept often misunderstood, especially when it comes to relationships and the deeply ingrained patterns many men between the ages of 35 and 70 struggle with. The path to true freedom does not come from external validation or chasing illusions that promise happiness but never deliver. It arrives when you finally recognize that seeking approval from someone who does not see you as an equal is not only futile, but damaging to your sense of self. Too many men spend years, sometimes decades, begging for recognition from women who view them through lenses clouded by their own desires and expectations, rather than genuine respect or equality. This is a silent trap, an emotional prison where your value becomes tied to another's inconsistent and often indifferent affections. But the dark truth, the old Stoic wisdom, reveals that freedom is found not outside, but within. When you shift your focus inward and love yourself with the same intensity and devotion you once poured into her, you break those chains. Self-love is not selfishness. It is the foundation upon which all other love must be built. You must understand that your worth has never been and will never be contingent on someone else's desire, approval, or validation. This realization is as liberating as it is profound, because it uproots the very source of emotional suffering. In the modern world, where social media amplifies every rejection, and cultural norms often pressure men to prove their value through the eyes of women or society, this wisdom is not just philosophical, it is practical and necessary. Men in this age group have lived through evolving social expectations and often carry scars from failed relationships, missed opportunities, and the crushing weight of unmet expectations. The Stoics, who faced their own harsh realities and emotional trials, taught that while we cannot control others' actions or feelings, we are the masters of our own minds. This power to govern your own attitude is where true freedom begins. Imagine the old warrior, battle-worn and weary, who lays down his sword not out of surrender, but because he understands that the fiercest battle is the one fought within his own heart and mind. This metaphor is crucial for understanding the path you must take. You do not need to wage war against the world or force affection from others. Instead, you must conquer the internal struggle of self-doubt and dependency. Practically, walking this path means ceasing the exhausting chase for fleeting approval. It means no longer measuring your worth by the attention, love, or validation you receive from others, especially from women who do not reciprocate your respect. Instead, it calls for a radical shift. Invest in yourself. Rediscover your passions and interests that were perhaps sidelined in the pursuit of relationships. Nurture your physical health, your mental well-being, and your intellectual curiosity. Surround yourself with people who appreciate you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. This inner work will cultivate a sense of peace and strength that is undeniable and magnetic. You will find that as you build this self-respect, relationships formed on mutual understanding and respect naturally follow. No longer driven by neediness or fear of abandonment, these connections are grounded in genuine affection and equality. Moreover, this journey toward freedom is not just a personal victory, but a profound statement against the illusions that society often sells. The notion that a man's worth is validated through romantic conquest or the approval of women is an outdated script that keeps many trapped in cycles of pain and frustration. By embracing Stoic wisdom, you rewrite this narrative. You acknowledge that your value is inherent, not granted or revoked by others' desires. This internal sovereignty becomes your shield against emotional manipulation and heartbreak. It is this freedom that allows you to stand tall, unshaken by rejection or loneliness, because your sense of self is rooted deep within, untouchable by the tides of others' opinions. In modern life, where distractions are endless and emotional dependency can be amplified by technology and instant communication, holding on to this truth is more crucial than ever. When you no longer seek to fill an internal void with someone else's affection, you create space for authentic joy and contentment to emerge. You learn to enjoy your own company, cultivate hobbies, and build a life rich with meaning beyond relationships. This autonomy is the essence of freedom. It empowers you to engage with others from a place of strength rather than desperation, to give love without losing yourself, and to accept love without needing it to define your worth. So take this wisdom to heart. Freedom begins when you stop chasing illusions and begging for validation from those who cannot see your true value. It blossoms when you fiercely love yourself and understand that your worth is intrinsic and unchangeable. This path is not easy. It requires courage, honesty, and persistence, but it is the most rewarding journey you will ever undertake. By walking it, you reclaim your power, find peace within, and open the door to relationships that honor and elevate you. This is the dark truth hidden beneath the surface of modern relationships, and the light of old Stoic wisdom guiding you toward a life of true freedom. 9. Building your own kingdom. You didn't come into this world to orbit someone else. Hear me clearly. You are not a satellite locked in endless rotation around another's gravity. You came here to build your own kingdom, your own center of power, strength, and unshakable purpose. If a woman walks beside you, it must be because she respects you, because you share a vision that lifts you both higher, because you recognize each other's worth on equal ground, not out of need, not out of weakness, not as a crutch for emptiness inside. You are not a stepping stone. You are not a phase she passes through and discards. You are an end in yourself, a force complete and whole, a sovereign man commanding his own destiny. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius, who taught us that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Stand firm in your truth. Even if it means walking alone, you must embrace true freedom. The freedom to live by your own code, to create your own empire, to hold your head high in solitude rather than lose yourself in dependence. This is the ancient Stoic wisdom many overlook. Strength comes not from the approval of others, but from the mastery of self. The world will try to pull you into its orbit, to convince you that you need someone else's validation to be complete. Reject it. Reclaim your power. Build your fortress inside, brick by brick, day by day, with discipline and relentless purpose. In modern life, distractions swarm like bees, tempting you to settle for less, to seek comfort in another's shadow. Don't fall for it. True kings don't chase fleeting approval or empty affection. They command respect through unwavering self-mastery. The path is not easy. You will face loneliness, doubt, and the gnawing fear of isolation. But remember this: the greatest men in history were forged in solitude. They embraced the harsh silence, the cold nights, and emerged unbreakable. So take control. Own your space. Own your power. Stand so tall in your identity that any woman who chooses to stand with you does so because she sees the giant you are, not because you begged her to stay. This is not just advice. It is a call to action, a decree from experience. If you're ready to stop orbiting and start ruling, like this message, comment below with the word king and. Subscribe for more truths that transform. Remember, your kingdom awaits. Build it, defend it, and rule it like the sovereign man you were born to be. Thanks so much for watching this deep dive into the dark truth about women that few know, Old Stoic wisdom. If you found this video valuable or thought-provoking, please don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. It really helps us keep creating. Also, I'd love to hear what you think. If you have any feedback, questions, or just want to discuss any part of the video, please feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinions matter, and a good conversation can help us all learn more. Remember, understanding these truths isn't about being harsh or judgmental. It's about seeing the world clearly and growing wiser every day. Thanks again for being here, and I look forward to reading your thoughts.